I bet kids like it.
We are live. It's like it's like a Pokemon for young girls, is what it looks like. She catches Fuzzlies, and
Fuzzlies.
her best friend's name is Bosley, and he's a little blue bunny kind of guy.
Bosley.
Yeah.
Is that the name of is that Charlie's Angels had a Bosley? Something had a Bosley.
Yeah, that sounds like one of the what's his name from Ocean's 11? Bernie Mac. Bernie Madoff.
I think he did play Bosley in the second Charlie's Angels.
Okay. Well, that's my point of reference, Mike. Okay.
All right.
In the second Charlie's Angels film, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I was thinking about the first. Look, I didn't watch the show either. We're old. We're not that old, but the first movie, it was Bill Murray.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Oh, I gotta set this newsletter to go, and because it needs to go in a minute.
Hello, everybody. Let's see, is my lighting? Where's my phone? Oh, shit.
What the hell is going on?
I don't know.
We're getting ready.
Are you doing a podcast?
I think we're gonna do a podcast.
Damn. Who wants to play Back for Blood?
Yeah.
Chat. Can chat hear me?
Yeah, chat should be able to hear you. Wait, can chat? Yeah, chat can hear you.
Discord. Let's play some Back for Blood.
I think I might be playing
Really
like
good.
Brothers at some point. That might be about as much of the game as I can stomach. We'll see. I wasn't a big Left 4 Dead fan, so I don't know how I'm gonna feel about slightly worse Left 4 Dead.
What is slightly better Left 4 Dead?
Is it?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like. I mean, I remember Left 4 Dead like being a thing. This seems to be. I'm sure it has its fans. I don't know if it's a thing.
Wait, people don't like it?
I think people like it, but it's not a thing. You know, it's not a giant talking point.
Oh,
I'm gonna tweet. I mean, I'm sure it's doing fine. It's on Game Pass. It's on Game. Yeah, it's not a Zeitgeist. The heck is that noise?
What is that sound?
It's the storm is a brewing, according to Microsoft 6 minutes ago.
Shit.
That was thunder.
That was thunder and lightning. It was a Microsoft tweet. On my speakers. It was like a storm is brewing, and then they had their own Microsoft logo.
Lightning.
No. Well,
Okay,
I mean, actual but recorded.
That makes way more sense.
No, it's like 30 degrees here right now, so there's not like that kind of storm coming.
Everybody's man Back for Blood. Y'all just haters.
I'm not. Just look. All right, Back 4 Blood's not going to be like anyone's game of the year, which is fine. Doesn't need to be, but I mean, Left 4 Dead was probably in some lists. I bet. That's all I'm saying. Like, this isn't going to sell as well as Left 4 Dead 2 did, right? Like, no, that's not a slam on the game, but that's just how it be. I mean, we saw a KSE gaming set already, so that already took off 1 million in sales probably after that slam.
Patrick Chandler sent to Games Plus Podcast at VentureBeat.com saying, gaming with ADHD, I'm curious how ADHD has affected your relationship with games and your ability to overcome hardships that you may encounter. Working in games journalism, do you find it difficult to keep up or get into the latest releases? I'll talk about this a little bit at some point. I'll just say that this got sent to us. There was no name, but it's to Games Plus Podcast. Dean didn't look at that, but when he saw that it was about gaming with ADHD, he then also just forwarded it to me. Like, nice. Oh, this goes to Jeff. Yep, Jeff needs this. Yep. That's fair, Dean.
Jeff, you are just ever so slightly a little staticky to me. I don't know how you sound to everybody else.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, thanks for letting me know. There was a weird buzz when I first joined the call, and I was like, I bet there's something wrong. So let me reset a few things.
Okay.
Let me check the server on there.
Why am I not on the right?
Put it US Central.
Yeah.
Hello. Wait. Oh no, that's right. You're not using NVIDIA Broadcast, so that would just be my mic. Okay, let me take a look here. What would that be? Mike, are you frozen? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. You can hear me? Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. Mike's just frozen for me.
Oh no.
Is he frozen for you?
I'm like to.
Oh, there he
Oh,
is.
there we go.
Hello, Mike. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hi.
Okay.
There we go. You just, you just sound a little bit better. No,
Yeah,
Chef is not frozen.
No, I mean it just reset. Give him a moment.
Yeah, give me a second.
Slightly not moving.
How does this sound? Same?
Speak a little bit more.
I think you sound better. I need.
Test. Hello, Jeff Grubb. I'm hearing myself echo, and that's very distracting. Hello. Hello. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Check. Hey, chat. How do I sound?
Talk for longer periods of time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk. It's a long way to Temporary. It's a long way in the snow.
You sound fine now. I think.
Okay. It's a long way.
I don't know. People hear me now. I think a moment ago they couldn't.
Yeah, you were frozen and yeah.
You were frozen a little bit.
Okay. We are. I think we're getting ready. I think we're ready. Let me hit the button here.
Oh, is this another? I should go through the news. You know, I could just put the news. Why don't you ask me to put the news together?
Well, you're busy. You're doing a lot of other stuff. I feel like giving you more work is like uncalled for. But and also, Knuble does a good job. Knuble like has the stuff ready to go. Like it was in there before I even asked him. Can you hear that?
Yeah. Yes, he does do a good job. I just feel bad making. I don't know. I don't feel bad. That would be a lie.
I don't have feelings.
Thank you, Knuble. Yeah, Mike's like I haven't had feelings in decades.
It's true. It's true.
I'm not a child.
I'm an adult. I'm a male.
All right, I'm gonna go put my kid on the potty. I'll be right back, and then we'll get started.
Put the kid on the potty. Putting kids in potty. Damn, I'm shocked. I'm shocked about the Back for Blood hatred.
Tango. There's no hate. Look, I told you. I never even liked the Left 4 Dead.
I've been having a lot of fun with the game.
I know.
I like the cards and shit. I'm a big fan of cards. You know, so I'm a really big fan of Left 4 Dead, and I'm really big fan of cards. So.
Oh God, what? I'm like scatterbrain. What am I? Oh, God, I can't type. I'm like this first.
I like Left 4 Dead 1 more than Left 4 Dead 2. I'm also that kind of guy.
I like Left 4 Dead 1 way more than 2. I barely played 2. I don't even know why. It's clearly very similar.
I don't know. I feel like the balance on Left 4 Dead 2 was a little bit.
I just remember
like
the characters weren't as interesting to me. I feel like I don't even remember.
The survivors were too powerful in Left 4 Dead 2. And the characters.
Doop, 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 boo doop, 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 doop. Okay, this is. Where did Jeff go? I wasn't listening. Did he leave me? Did he abandon me?
To the potty.
Oh, there he is. He's back. Oh, he's right. Yeah, there he is.
Beautiful. Play Wonderwall.
I should learn Wonderwall. Be a good party trick.
See Chef typing away.
Yeah, Jeff's typing.
He's
That
here.
weirdo.
He's here. He's here. My ears low. Your ears, was it that loud? This come in loud? I thought.
It wasn't that loud.
I'll deal with that. Don't worry. I muted him. They can't hear you guys. They can't hear you. Don't worry. They can't hear you guys anymore. They can only hear me. Yeah.
Chat.
Okay.
Idiot.
Is Pawn Wonderworld even have a theme? I guess it must have a theme song. I'm gonna learn the end credits song from Metroid Dread and play it to Jeff to make him mad. Although honestly, it would also make me mad.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready. I think.
Yeah.
What are
Get
we
out here,
missing?
Christian.
Record
Christian.
a fucking podcast.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we were. That was the plan.
I need to hit the record button. We already tested the audio.
Hey Jeff, Turbo Sean's asking where that Metroid Dread spoiler cast is.
Okay, look. You know what it was, Mike? That was just a good conversation among two friends that no one else is going to get to hear.
Apparently.
If a podcast happens in the woods and no one records it, is it just a conversation between friends? Yes,
Jeff
that's what it was.
forgot to unmute us, so we just did it, and there was no audio. There's nothing. Then I made him write a review as punishment, so at least there was that.
I messed up.
You done messed up, son.
You're done, son. You have me saying that all week now.
You done, son. Yeah, it's fun to say that. Oh, you're done, son. You done messed up, AA Ron.
I think our audio levels are good. Mike, can you talk a little bit more there? And I'm going to check yours and see how consistent it is.
Yeah, I'll talk some more. People talk about how there's cards in Back for Blood. Are we good?
That's good. I mean,
Mike's drinking just a Diet Arnold Palmer
with
today.
vodka in it. Yeah.
I remember back when I used to drink during the show because it would always be the last thing we did on Friday.
Yep.
Then we started doing it like early and in the middle of work day. I'm like, all right, I probably shouldn't just be boozing it up.
Okay. I feel the reason is because like I have four corners to my monitor, and I usually feel like I have all four corners filled up with something, but this time I don't. I guess you know what? I put the rundown over here. There we go. Okay.
You run down the chat. Well, Penny,
Yeah, and then the chat's there.
Penny, shut the hell up.
All right, everybody. Thank you for sending those super chats. We're going to get to them real soon. We're going to start this right now. Mike, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Mike is ready. I'm ready. You all are ready. Here we go. 5, 4, 3. The internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything happening in the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
Today's episode, we have news, we have games, we have so much to talk. We have Nintendo wanting more money.
No.
Yeah, weird thing with Nintendo. You know, normally they do this stuff as charity. Somehow they want an absurd amount of money.
Yeah, I tell you what. Even like the joke, like, well, of course corporations want money. Man, I didn't have more than twice as much as the original NSO.
Well, we knew it was bad news, though. We knew it was bad news.
We knew it was bad news.
Yes, this is like I thought it would be 40. I'll be honest. I thought it was going to be 40. We'll talk about all that. It's coming up in the news. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I think I have a busy Saturday, maybe Sunday. I'll chill out, just watch some football. Yeah, I can't complain too much. Although, like, I finally got an Arcade 1-Up thing sent to me, and I'm excited. But it's a lot to put it together. And I'm also, like, they said they're going to send it to me to test. They never said they want me to send it back. And I'm not worried about it just because, like, obviously I want to keep an arcade machine, but I'm more worried about the logistics of sending that thing back because
I still have the
I
one
don't
that
know.
they sent me. Yeah, sending it back was a whole. It's too much. They don't want it back because it's like super heavy. It costs a lot to ship and stuff.
There's no way I could possibly responsibly repackage that for them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I know what you mean. It's like almost more of a hassle to get these things when you have to send them back, and it's like I know I'll pass. But yeah, I get it. The arcade one-up things. Those are cool. Which one did you get? Can you say?
Yeah, I think I could say. I don't. Yeah, why not? They just sent me Miss Pac-Man, so they didn't send me like a newest one.
Cool.
They kind of pitched it as a Sweetums Day adjacent thing. So I'm not going to tell them about my aromanticism, but that's yeah. I like Miss Pac-Man though, so hey, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. You could just be aromantic with that Miss Pac-Man alone in your apartment. I get it.
It sounds weird when you like that.
I mean, that's just friendship, Mike. That's just friendship.
It's friendship. Friend zone Pac-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I was gonna. Oh, you know what? I was gonna say that we did have Canoe put the news thing together because I was running late. Because, well, for one thing, my wife went to go get her booster shot, so I was watching kids. But I was also I started replaying Metroid Dread already. I'm playing on hard mode, and now I'm trying to sequence break and get the morph ball bomb early, and I'm trying to find that, and I'm like getting lost and stuff. So, but I think I figured it out, but I haven't got it yet still. So we'll see.
Yeah, I want to figure out. So I'm playing Aria of Sorrow after being Metroid Dread. I want to play through that first, and I'm enjoying it. But there's a part of me that really wants to play Metroid Dread again, and
Right.
I'm definitely doing the hard mode. I'm gonna do like a hard mode 100% run because I didn't do 100% yet. Then maybe after that, I'll worry about like going back to normal mode and trying to beat it under 4 hours, so I get the concept art and everything. But yeah, tell you what, yeah, still want to play that game a lot.
Yeah, I did get 100% on the normal mode on my normal save. I went back like after I beat the boss and just did that, and then I'm doing hard mode. I don't ever do that. I don't care about trophies or achievements anymore. But going back to 100% this game just because I wanted to play it was a real thing. So yeah,
I only ever do it for games I really, really like. I think the last time I really made a big effort to do that was with Mario Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email the podcast at games+podcast@venturebeat.com. Thank you to Carlos Ain, who is Insane in the Ring Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme song. If you're listening to this on the website player widget or on YouTube, first of all, if you're watching on YouTube right now live, hit that like button. Helps people find the show. And if you want an audio version of the show, you can go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more to find it. If you like us, rate us on Apple Podcasts. That also helps people find the show. Join the Discord. The link is in the description, but I think discord.gg/gamemess should also work. Thank you to our mods who've been very helpful in keeping the Discord going pretty smoothly. Ton of conversation happens there, and we do a good job of keeping a chill place to hang out. And then if you want to get into the secret channels inside the Discord, best way to do that is go to patreon.com/JeffGrubb, and that gets you access to those private channels like industry secrets and podcast producers and general but cooler industry secrets.
Put them under your pillow for sleepy time.
Mike, I have some news. I say I have some news.
I'm saying, what, are you pregnant? Like the way you said that.
Some personal news. There it is, burrito baby. Let's see. So let's start here. We keep the way Knuble does is always nice because he bunches it up by like basically a platform. So let's start here with actually Nintendo. Yes. Nintendo had the big news today of, there's Animal Crossing DLC coming. Mike, what is this DLC?
It's interesting because there's two very big updates coming in November 5th. One of them is free stuff.
Right.
And this is, there's a lot to that even. Gosh, it was so much. I'm almost forgetting what's part of the free thing and what isn't. I know there's like coffee, there's like morning, like exercising. You can
Brewster's coming. Right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can cook your own food, stuff like that. So there's a lot in the free update. But then there's also going to be an expansion called Happy Home Paradise. So it's kind of like, it almost seems kind of like Happy Home Designer, but just built into the game. And this is where it's like an archipelago you can go to where you can create more homes and like personalize them for residents and stuff like that. So, and there's a lot to that too. So pretty beefy stuff here. I think this is what a lot of people wanted. Animal Crossing was a giant hit. And it seems like this is the stuff that they put into development once they realized just how big of a hit it was and that they needed more content. And now it is coming out. So I think that's pretty good news for Animal Crossing fans.
The paid DLC is $25 if you buy it separately, but that's not the only way to get it, Mike.
No,
How else
not.
can you get it?
You can get it as part of the new Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pass, right? That's what the thing is called.
Expansion pack, right? Or is it pass?
Expansion pack? Yeah, okay.
Because it's named after the N64 expansion pack, I thought. So yeah.
Is it named? It's named after which is its own platform apparently. That's what you said. But so this is what is the thing that gives you the Genesis games, Nintendo 64 games, and they also threw in access to Happy Home Paradise or whatever it was. Yeah. Now you only get access to it while you're subscribed to this. So if you want
it works
to just
like
have it
PS Plus or Xbox games with Gold. Only it's just DLC for Animal Crossing so far. We don't know if anything else is going to get added to it. Now, did you say the price? Have we talked about the price?
What's the price for regular Nintendo Switch Online for single person, not affiliate plan for a year is $20 a year. This is $50 a year. This is more than twice as much. Jeff, we were speculating about this forever. Yeah. I think at one point we said if this was a fair world, this would maybe be $5 more per year. Right? Which we both said it's not actually going to be that, of course.
No way. I thought it was $30 a year. They would have told us at the time. They didn't. So I said 40. What were you thinking?
I was still thinking, in my mind, I was like, how could they possibly justify more than 30? Honestly, I was naive. I was a naive son of a bitch. Now we were like, maybe if I had known they were going to try to throw in this Animal Crossing thing, maybe I would have been like, okay, maybe 40. I don't know. $50. That is pretty out there, man. That is bold. That takes some cojones or some ignorance, maybe a bit of both. I don't know. It's crazy.
I think it's cojones.
That's crazy.
I think it's just they have the guts still to say, hey, we're going to do this, and we think enough people are going to pay. And while a lot of you are going to complain, it's not going to be like when people complain about Xbox Live Gold getting increased in price, or when people complain about PlayStation closing down the stores. We know most of you are still going to cough up that money.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're definitely not going to reverse it. They're not going to change the price.
Right, exactly. That's the thing.
Be the price.
That's what I mean. It's not the same thing where, like, I think they know that they can withstand the outpouring or outrage or whatever, because they know the undertones there are, we're mad because we know we are going to pay it. In a lot of cases, I know a lot of people are not going to, but you probably weren't going to pay it if it was 40 or whatever. The people who were going to pay 40 probably would pay 50, and that was the argument inside Nintendo, and they're right. It's you do what in business you charge as much as you possibly can. And it's not even defense. It's just the reality that we live in, I feel like. So I'm not surprised that they're doing this. I probably will end up paying for it. So I also feel like a bit like hypocritical just getting mad at it, because I am going to pay for it. So
I mean, it borderline makes sense if you both like old games and you like Animal Crossing a lot, right? And there's already a lot of people like, can't there be like a $30 option that doesn't give me the Animal Crossing thing that I don't want, right? Because it seems like they threw that in to justify the value of this thing. And like, again, those two things are very different. Like, I'm sure there's cross section because there are just Nintendo fans who are often Sega Genesis fans too now. Anyway, so sure, there will be people who are interested in an Animal Crossing expansion and in those old games, but there's a lot of people who won't be, and it kind of feels like Nintendo's telling them, well, it is worth that because this Animal Crossing thing that maybe you won't play.
It is at a certain point. They just like, it's like the free toy in the box where like you might throw it away after a day, even if like when you get it, it's just the thing to get the families to buy the thing in the first place. And then once you're bought in, you're less likely to cancel. It's just like, I don't know. This would probably go over better with me personally if there was a promise to say, and we are working on a lot more DLC and other games to add into Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack in the future. Right now, with just the promise of Animal Crossing DLC alone, it feels weird because at a certain point, like, you start looking around saying you can just buy the Genesis collection on here, and you can just get the Animal Crossing thing separately, and that's just one price, and you're paying and you own it. If they continue to to add extra stuff here, maybe it'll be worth it. But they just haven't made that promise, so I'm like skeptical.
I want to hear about Game Boy. I want to hear about Game Boy Color now. I want like some kind of commitment to release games at a relatively steady pace.
Or like Mario Kart 8 DLC, if you were adding that in there for free, or unpaid and stuff like that. Get access to
the Fighters Pass for passes for Smash Bros. Now, of course, most of us already have those, but at this point, why the hell not?
Why not? Right? Yeah. So if they said all the DLC we've ever released for Zelda, for everything, was just included here, that would be different. This just feels like just a little sprinkle to get people over that hump initially, and then just take their money and kind of sit on their laurels. I will say that I am excited to play like N64 games online with people, Mario Kart, Star Fox, that kind of stuff. So I was gonna at least try this. But I don't blame anyone who's like, this is too much money. I get it. At a certain point, like it's really absurd that they're charging $50 for this thing, and they can kind of add all of the bonus games and like classic games that they want. If Nintendo Online as like a service that you actually use like to communicate and play games with other people is still as bad as it has been, that's just a joke at that point. It's a joke.
Right, that's the actual thing we're supposed to be mainly paying for. It still has us opening a phone app to do voice chat, and like they know everyone hates that. They must have numbers that shows them nobody opens that goddamn app, right? Yep. It has to be like an embarrassment, and they don't even talk about it anymore. They don't even pretend that the app is a thing, right? Like when was the last time they're like, here's the new like Metroid Dread Portal in the Nintendo Switch Online app or whatever. Like that's not even a thing they even bother with anymore, right? And again, like this is now just $10 less than PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold, which has good online services
and getting better.
And they give you like newish games for free, right? Isn't Last of Us Part 2 being offered?
I think that's PlayStation Now. I think it's getting
PlayStation Now
for 3 months. I think. Yeah.
Okay. But you know what I mean. There's, I know. Like I love old games, but there's clearly a value difference there.
Yep. I totally agree. Again, it's just like, but Nintendo's gonna do this because they can get away with it. So what do we do? Like, I mean, I think you just have to make the choice for yourself and just say, all right, I'm not gonna pay it, and move on with your life, and not get too hung up on it, because at a certain point, you can get loud and try to get mad and get these companies to change their mind. I just don't think Nintendo's that company. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there'll be some outrage and Nintendo will backtrack. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't know. There is a part of me that feels like even in a business sense, there must be enough people who would have maybe budge at $40 compared to $50 that it may have just made them more money. I don't know. I'm sure they had people crunch those numbers. I guess $50 just seems absolutely bizarre and bonkers. It's certainly, I get it. Some people are still going to pay for it. I'm still wondering about myself. I say it. I'm sure I probably will. But I'm like, when I think about it, all those Genesis games I already have on my Switch for the most part. I'm not the biggest Nintendo 64 fan anyways, and the games that I want the most are like Mario 64, which I already have on my Switch. Like Ocarina of Time, I have that on 3DS, and a very good thing. So none of that really is tickling my fancy that much. Maybe when Game Boy games are there, I'll care more about it. But I'll tell you what, there better never be another tier. It better not be like we're adding games. Now you have to pay $70 a year. Like this better be it. Like give me a break.
Yeah, I do think that they're like forgiveness is better than permission sort of thinking here, where it's like, let's just go to $50 right now instead of trying to go to 40 and then 50 later. Let's just go to 50 now, and a lot of people will buy in, and those who don't will just slowly bump up the value here and there with a few things and eventually win some of those people over. Tetris 99, I think, won a lot of people over to the $20 tier originally, where it's like, hey, I set this out because I don't care about these old games, and I don't play a lot of stuff online. It's like, well, now Tetris 99 is theirs. It's like, okay, it's only $20, and I do get all this other stuff. I think they think that they could do the same thing here, where they give an initial offering, and then a few months from now, they'll look around and say, okay, let's do another thing to add this. And then people could say that same sentence where, okay, I do want that, and then I get all this other stuff. That's what their thinking is. And it'll probably work is the thing. It'll probably work.
What I'm really hoping here is maybe with this like ridiculous price, this is giving them the money to just pay for GoldenEye, to pay for like the WWF games, like get some of those big licensed games. Probably not, but like, man.
Yeah.
Well, they had to pay Sega some money, and maybe they had to pay them a lot.
Emily Rogers said that, and that seems right. Like, I think I guess at that point though, like, why even pay Sega?
That's what I was about to say. Like, okay, then don't. Again, I love the Genesis, but all those games, most of those games are already on there. Just get one of your other Nintendo platforms
Game
on
Boy,
there that you can
put
still
Virtual Boy on there. Like that would have been like at least
That'd be
like a
cool.
curio that people would have been like, all right, well, I'll pay to see this weird shit that you put on here. These weird ports of Virtual Boy games that you put on the Switch, you weirdos.
Even if you want something Genesis adjacent, just do Game Boy Advance. It's like, basically the same kind of thing. Or get Turbo Graphics, which is probably cheaper. Again, I know it's not as exciting as the Genesis, but
I for a long time, when like before we heard it was Sega Genesis, but we were hearing that there were other platforms, I'm like, it's probably Turbo Graphics. That just makes so much sense.
I mean, there were Turbo Graphics games on Wii. That was a thing on Virtual Console, but yeah, I don't know. It seems weird. It seems weird, and I feel like in a year or two, we're going to just still be complaining how we don't have Earthbound and like Mario RPG on this service still.
Yep. I think, yeah. If this thing launches and or like Mario RPG isn't there, I'll be very frustrated. But I'll still pay it. That's the thing. And I'm a sucker, and people should call me a sucker because that's absolutely true. Absolutely right.
That's the other thing I was thinking. Like, even if there was somehow some like big, like not boycott, but like sales were disappointing for this, I feel like Nintendo would still be like, "Wow, people don't like old games."
Yeah.
Like that would be the conclusion.
Right. They're so business savvy and they're so goddamn stupid. Like they're so both. It's so weird. Like they know what they can get away with, and then when it doesn't work, they don't like see through like, oh, we just asked for too much. They learn the wrong lesson. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let me get back to my rundown here. What else happened with Nintendo? All right. So Nintendo Switch Online N64 games were coming. We knew that as part of this expansion pass. But there was a worry that the PAL region, which includes like most of Europe, would have the slower versions of games because PAL games ran at 50 hertz, so games would get released at 50 frames per second, and instead of porting them or adjusting them to like run at the right speed at 50 frames per second, they would just slow them down from 60 frames to 50 frames. So it was an issue back then, and people in that PAL region were like, hey, are we going to get the crappy PAL versions of games again? And Nintendo's like, hey, no, you could choose. You can have, in some cases, you'll get the PAL version if you want, but the default seems to be the NTSC version, which is 60 frames per second. So that's good news to have those options. Yeah, I almost am like, I'm glad that the option will be there. I don't know if they'll have it on the North American one because I just kind of want to see it. I know there's ways that I could have played it like on emulators, but it'd be cool just to be like on my Switch, just checking.
I remember a lot of the PlayStation Classic games ran into 50 hertz, like even like in North America, and that was a big complaint. People were like, "What the hell is this?"
It sucks. It was bad. PAL bad. Absolutely, I've always said that. Let's see here. Anything else from Nintendo? No. Okay, so. Oh, you know what? Mercury Steam. Mercury Steam is the developer of Metroid Dread. They're in a little bit of hot water because there were some developers who worked on that game for months, and their names do not appear in the credits. And Mercury Steam responded to this and said, our policy is to only put in names into the credits for people who worked on at least 25% of the project. And that's a bad policy, and they are getting rightfully sort of criticized for this. I think if you worked on the game at all, you should get credited. That's how it works in movies, unless you're a writer. Writers is like the one weird thing.
You know what movies have, though, that video games don't have?
What is that, Mike? Yeah.
They have unions that make sure that people get credited rightfully. Yeah, it's insane. Just put people's names in the credits. Like, you know.
It's not even like movies where like there's like they don't have residuals or something. So it's like putting the name in the credits is the least you can do. It's not like it's going to cost you more money. For these people, so it's super weird. But yeah, you're right. Unions make a big deal out of that stuff in movies. So, yep. I do hope they go back and update this. But going forward, this should just be the policy. If you work on the game, you get credit.
Did you see? Apparently, there is a soft lock in the game that people discover. I don't know the details, but there is a place where you can just get stuck and your like progress will be lost somehow. You can't just reset for some reason. So apparently, they're fast tracking an update by the end of the month to fix that for those people. So, and I don't, maybe like, well, they're doing that, they could just copy paste some names into the credits.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe copy paste a better song into the credits too. But
yeah, for real. Some garbage track there. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
It is. It's like the one blemish on that game for me is like, even like the music during the game is fine. I wouldn't have said anything. Man, that end credits song is so bad.
Yeah, it's boring, which is like like you just want to feel something and you feel nothing. You feel nothing.
Boring and like
that song.
Tacky and cheap sounding, and
the music in the game isn't great though. I mean, it's forgettable.
I don't think I mind the music in the game as much as you do. I think at some points it was fine, and maybe good.
Okay.
I don't know.
Go listen to Brinstar for Super Nintendo for
Sure.
Super Metroid, and then come back and tell me how you feel about the Metroid Dread music.
I think you're probably right. But I wouldn't have ever commented on it if it wasn't for the credit song.
Bum, 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 bum,
I actually found a YouTube video just like the top 100 best Metroid songs. I was skipping around there mostly to see where my favorite landed. The title screen from Metroid Prime 2. Don't even like Metroid Prime 2 that much, but that title screen song is a banger.
I got this new PC soundbar here from Sound Blaster, and I'm testing it out, and it's fantastic. I'll write a review about it soon. But I was listening to Super Metroid music, and it it was blowing me away. Like I heard so much more than I normally would hear because I would listen to it on cheap TV speakers or something like that. And that music's so good, such a great franchise for music, except for Metroid Dread. All right, let's see. Xbox. Let's see. There was a bunch of news from Jess Corden about like what's going on with Avowed. I would just go read that report mostly. Avowed seems to be coming along nicely. Last I heard, it's still coming 2023. Jez says that he thinks that's right. More interesting though, he said that 1/3 of Xbox games are officially announced, and there's so that means there's like twice as many, or 3 times as many total that haven't been revealed. So a lot of games in the works at Xbox, and to me, I'm like, that seems like a ton, because I feel like we've heard about a lot, but I suppose they do have a lot of studios, and those studios could be working on multiple titles. And if we've heard about, I think like 10 to 15, I guess, like 30 total, 30, 45 total, I guess. Yeah.
In various degrees of development. I mean, gosh, all these games we may not even see.
I guess you're right. So, we know they're gonna have a lot of stuff at this next E3, I think. So, but
I mean, just think about even just like Double Fine, right? Like, I'm sure they're working on another big game, but they could be working on 2 to 3 smaller games still.
Yeah, and they have done that in the past, and now they have a bigger budget, so they would do that more frequently, I think. Fallout 3 was updated to remove the Games for Windows Live bullshit. That is interesting. I'm glad they finally did that. That game holds up better than I thought. I started it up again the other day just when I heard this. That's still a really good game, Fallout 3.
This reminds me that we got into a fight about this recently. Now we can finally run a poll.
Okay. What was our fight?
Our fight was it was about Fallout 4.
Right.
Well, you were talking about. You were talking about Far Cry and how there's too many Far Cries and stuff like that, and you said there's other examples of games where people turned on it just because the formula had been used too many, and you used Fallout 4 as an example, and I was
did get that criticism. It absolutely.
And I was like, no, Fallout 4's main criticism by far was its lack of RPG options. People were not that upset about it being another Fallout game. That was absolutely not that much of a criticism.
People were. I remember, because it was it was the same. Maybe I was just listening to a different audience, but it was the people who like Fallout 1 and 2 and New Vegas, and they're like Fallout 3. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll try Fallout 3. And okay, now Fallout 4 is just more of that, and it's not even as good as the older games.
Even more of Fallout 4 is just significantly. It actually was different from 3 and New Vegas in bad ways.
I don't. Yeah, a lot of people say I disagree with that.
Look at all these. Oh, look at all the chats here. Mike is right. Mike is correct. Jeff, you're totally wrong on this one. Look at all this. Mike is right. Oh my gosh.
Looking back on it, there was definitely, you're right, a lot of people were saying that, but it definitely got criticism at the time for being more of the same in other ways. I know.
I'm sure it got some criticism from all the people even older than you whose podcast you're listening to. But
yeah, I think that's what it was. I think I was just listening to podcasts where people were saying that stuff.
Mike is right.
All right, I'll put up the poll. All right, what is the question?
All right, the question is, what was Fallout 4 mainly criticized for? Is it for being more of the same, or for being less of an RPG? Those are the two options.
Yeah, no, I think when you put it like this, you're right. It's definitely going to be. Yeah.
But now I want you to see your shame and just see how.
Yeah, that's fair. I get my spanking. I'll take my spanking. That's fine.
Look, I won't even bring up the whole now you're comparing the Game Boy Color to the Nintendo 64 expansion pass thing, but
I mean, it's more RAM and that's about it. Like, that's it. Like, that's the same thing, just they did the way they packaged it was differently.
Are we going to call the Super FX chip now a separate platform with Star Fox 64?
No, I'm not the one saying it's a separate platform. You're saying that because they added more RAM to the Game Boy Color.
I can't. No, you've right. Been wrong too many times.
One argument per day. All right.
One argument per day. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll do this one, and then yes. Okay. So yes. definitely by far, so far, 79% saying being less of an RPG. So the 1 in 5 out there represent.
We'll let that one stew a little bit, just so we really get the flavors in there.
This feels about right. 1 out of 5 people saying this is, and I was probably just listening to that 1 out of 5. All right. Let's see. At Xbox mini fridge pre-orders are going to start October 19th. The fridge only costs $99. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I knew they were trying to keep it below 200. $99, very good.
That's 2 Nintendo Switch Online expansion passes or whatever the hell packs.
And then Tango Gameworks has 3 games in development, according to Shinji Mikami, who would know as the leader of Tango Gameworks.
This is the Ghostwire people.
Ghostwire Tokyo people. So I mean, I wonder if they're counting that. I mean, they're probably counting that. Rex, that game's still in development. And then I bet they have Evil Within 3 coming. That makes sense.
Sure.
That franchise feels like it could have a breakout if they just gave it one more chance. Yeah.
Even if not, it's still pretty good. Game Pass fodder.
Let's see. Okay, we went over the Xbox news. Let's see if there's a little bit from Sony. They are doing the fifth year anniversary of PSVR, and they're giving away 3 free VR games in PS Plus next month. I guess I didn't see what those games are. Let's see.
I hope one of them's Astrobot.
Yeah, that better be one of them. Let's see, free PSVR.
Yeah, I hope games. We hear about PlayStation VR 2 soon. I don't really expect to hear about it this year. That sounds like something we'll hear about next year.
And then it could launch next holiday, right?
It could, and that would be like that'll give that system a boost in a way, almost like a mid-gen refresh would, right? It'll do something.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Rec Room is one. Beat Saber and PlayStation VR Worlds. There's actually 4 games here because Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is this 5 games? Are all these being added? Maybe I am reading the wrong list. Let's see. The blog shared the highest played. Oh, these are the highest played VR games. Okay, so I did mess up. Let's see here.
Jeff messed up again. I think Doom Reaper says my haircut speaks to him. If you want to call it a haircut, that's very generous. But yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, I'm not going to be able to find these games because they're just showing the most played ones. But whatever. So they're adding 3 games to the PSVR, to PS Plus next month. Let's see. And then the top 5 most played games for VR was Rec Room, Beat Saber, PSVR World, Skyrim, and Resident Evil 7. So Astro not in there, shamefully. That is our shame as video gamers. Yeah,
right? What the heck?
All right, let's see here. So in other news, I think you talked about this on Nintendo, on the Nintendogs podcast. No cross save is being added to Monster Hunter Rise as it goes to PC. No cross save or cross progression. This is something that they said they looked into and basically decided it's going to be too much work and they're not going to go for it. I'm sure that's also going to hurt sales just a tiny bit, and they must have decided that juice wasn't worth the squeeze or whatever.
Yes.
I'm disappointed, but also hopefully next time they just think about this from the beginning and do it.
They really should. I mean, they should have this time, really, but maybe they'll still built so much off of the world infrastructure, and world still never got cross progression or cross saves or cross play, whatever. So it's not a giant surprise, but it is disappointing just because I know for me, I don't care about the PC version now. I'm not going to restart all of that again as much as I'll just keep playing on my Switch where I have all that progression and all that onboarding already happened.
Tencent continued its investment into video game developers with Bloober Team, which is the developer of The Medium, a 10 out of 10 game if I've ever seen one. It was a 22% investment in there. I've never played The Medium. That's a joke that people will get. This just tends to continue to do what it does, where it's makes it takes minority stakes in companies, gives them a lot of money, stands back and lets them keep doing what they're doing, and then if the studio it becomes a big success or gets purchased, Tencent has a big payday. Let's see, and then anything else? MOBA Network, which is apparently a giant network of forums, they acquired Reset Era for $4.55 million. Mike, I didn't know video game forums could be worth that much money. I was surprised by this.
I tell you what, it makes me wish I started a shitty video game forum 5 years ago now. Right? What the hell?
Yeah, I was like, when people were starting that, they were like, it has investors and they're getting started. I'm like, oh, okay, weird. And then apparently it makes $700,000 a year in revenue or something like that. And so you multiply that by 5 or 10, which is how much usually how they do it. And that's about how much you would buy it for. Okay.
didn't Reset Era just start as because like NeoGaf got kind of like 4chan-y or something, right?
Yeah,
Like,
the owner of it, I can't remember exactly what it was now, but the owner of NeoGaf was like kind of shitty, and then would never apologize or something like that. I can't remember what it was exactly, but he's definitely like a shitlord. So yeah. NeoGaf's still out there, still going. Weirdly enough, if you like, it's weird to like just see that website still exists.
right.
And then LucasArts could reveal a new Star Wars game this December. This is part of like Star Wars like Bounty Days or something like that, Days of Bounty, and they're going to reveal some new product you can buy every day for many days, like leading up to this holiday season. And then on December, I think it was December 19th or something like that, they're going to talk about something related to a video game controller, or at least that's what the image is. It's a video game controller, so people are thinking this is going to be the debut of a new game. They haven't
be so many things.
They haven't said that explicitly. It could be so many things, right? Honestly, it could be as simple as a Star Wars branded controller, right? They could be like,
It could literally
here's some
be
Star Wars
that,
peripherals. Huh? Yeah, exactly. So here's like the Mandalorian controller you can get or whatever. I think they could do something like that. But hopefully it is a big new exciting game.
KOTOR's coming to PlayStation, right? Like that was who had that one. So we could just be seeing gameplay of that, and or could it be a KOTOR controller? I don't know. Like, I mean, it could also be like, we're going to see Ubisoft's Star Wars game,
right,
where we're going, or we're going to see
Quantic Dreams game that's been in works for 18 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they have something to show there. So yeah, we'll see. What I do know is it's not Jedi Fallen Order 2. I looked into that. It's not that. So yeah. FIFA wants $1 billion for the naming rights from EA for FIFA video games. EA is like, we're not sure we're gonna pay that. And then see, I'm reading what Knuble wrote here. FIFA wants to double the price, $1 billion plus every 4 years for Liga names, and I'm afraid that means Ligma balls again. So I'm not sure what's happening there.
Maybe meant league names.
Yes, Liga. Yes, you're right. League. Yeah, that's what the Liga is called. Yes, that's how they say it there. You're right. I would expect EA not to pay that, because you could call that game anything, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused by FIFA's approach here, because I mean, you can bargain, I guess, but if you're ultimately going to be like, well, take it or leave it, well, you're losing out on a lot of money, right?
Right. Yeah. They could just call it EA Football, and it would sell. There's a million other big like names they can go out there and get. They can just call it Premier League Soccer plus Friends and have all the other leagues or whatever. I guess maybe Premier League is part of FIFA. I don't know. But there are other things they could call it. And then they would still have all the clubs, because I think they make separate deals with the clubs and the players. So they would still have all the stuff that really matters.
They could just call it EA Soccer here and EA Football in the appropriate territories, and people will know what it is. Right. They'll be fine.
Yep. Here's one. Dragon Age 4 is only coming to the new generation of consoles and PC. Something I reported yesterday. There was a LinkedIn profile for a lead gameplay or gameplay mechanic or something, lead gameplay engineer, something like that. And in his profile, he said, I'm working on Dragon Age 4, and then in parentheses said PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. I double checked. I confirmed that is exactly what it's coming to. It's not coming to Xbox One or PlayStation 4. Not too surprising, right? Like, especially after Dragon Age Inquisition was cross-gen and had problems because of that, and they really regretted doing that. Seems like they were going to make this move, but still nice to confirm it.
Right. Apparently, they're having trouble with Battlefield because of that. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Gosh, I know it's not really in our news, but I wanted to talk to you about Battlefield, because man, that has just been a roller coaster of public opinion, right? From like that reveal where people are really excited, and people have. I almost wish I didn't play the the beta myself. I wish I did, because people seem down on it, man.
I think Battlefield fans seem down on it, is what it seems like to me. If you go to the Reddit for Battlefield, like, they're all having a bad time. When I was watching other people play on Twitch and stuff, people seem to be enjoying it otherwise. So it's tough to say. Maybe there's just changes being made to it that does make it feel more like Call of Duty. But honestly, I think a lot of it's just the beta was rough because it's an old build, and so it played poorly in a lot of cases. We're gonna have to see what this game is like when it finally does come out to actually find out how people feel. So, but you're right, it has been up and down and up and down. And right now, it does feel like it's down a little bit among the hardcore fans, but like I said, I think a lot of people still liked it. So
yeah, I guess it's just intriguing to me because DICE really can't afford another middling response game here after the Battlefield 5 and then Battlefront 2 and the mess that was in just from the start. Like that was a game that should have been incredibly popular and incredibly profitable, and it only was kind of because of that really sloppy launch with the really unpopular monetization that it had. So like what happens if this one has a response similar to Battlefield 5? That would seem like a disaster to me.
And I think what happens is that more of the decision making gets taken away from DICE and goes to EA. That they're already sort of in that process a little bit. DICE wants to have that autonomy, and that autonomy is under threat if Battlefield 2042 doesn't pan out. And then, they'll probably rework some things and then sort of, I would imagine, rebuild DICE in Respawn's image a little bit, maybe even bring in Vince Zampella to sort of say, hey, here's what you need to do. And then send them off and say, okay, now start making games the Respawn way. DICE, I think, is resistant to that right now, but a lot of key people at DICE have left over the years. And Patrick Soderlund, who was DICE founder and then went to be an executive at EA, he's gone. So there's just like that buffer zone and the confidence that they would have in like long-term like employees and senior developers at DICE, all that stuff is sort of shriveled away, and now they're left with like a DICE that hasn't proven itself necessarily. So they're definitely in that area where they have to prove themselves again, and 2042 is sort of a make or break internally for DICE in terms of that autonomy.
Battlefield 2042 is not my most anticipated game of the holiday season, but I think it's going to be the most interesting one.
Yep, I think so. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, okay. Steam will kick all blockchain and NFT games off the platform like Age of Rust. So I don't blame them for that because I don't know. A lot of those feel like they're going to be scams for quite some time. So maybe they just don't want to be associated with those things. And you could do a lot of the stuff you could do with blockchain and NFT games on Steam already, just through like Steam. Steam has those features, and then it doesn't have all the weird NFT blockchain destroying the rainforest stuff in it. So yeah. And then there was a new Call of Duty cheat system that that was like getting out there. It leaked. There's been like a lot of stuff about the cheat systems. Like people there was like a big announcement of this stuff, right?
Right. We have a story on it. Dean wrote a story about this thing. Like they prepped him for that, right? So it's something that they're making a deal out of. Right.
And then I think I suppose like the cheat system, what it says here is it leaked after a few hours. And I'm like wondering, okay, so now our hackers already finding a way around it and stuff, which seems like inevitable. That would be really embarrassing after they made such a big deal about it. But we'll have to see how that pans out and turns into like, whether that turns into like real cheat stuff that people are able to take advantage of. Either way, I thought it was weird that they made such a big deal about it. Anything else? No, that's all the news. Mike, I wonder, do we have any super chats?
We have a lot of super chats. This one just came in. I'm going to do it now because I need clarification. Georgie just said, no offense, but you would be on Microsoft/Sony for this. I don't know what this is.
For Nintendo charging more. And I thought we were on Nintendo about it.
Yeah, I thought we criticized them pretty. Yes, I don't know. Like, yeah, sure. If Microsoft or Sony overcharged or something, I would criticize them too.
Yeah, and they raised the prices from $50 to $60 a long time ago, and I paid for both of them. I mean, listen, I don't pay for it. Don't buy it. I feel like what else can I tell you to do? We yelled at Nintendo as much as I feel like it's going to be effective. It's just I don't believe it's going to be effective. Do you want me to believe in something I don't believe? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I tell you what, yeah, it's definitely coming. It's definitely happening. Pay for it or not. Let's do this one too. This one also just came in, but it's about Battlefield. We're just talking about it. Brett Bingham says, I played the Battlefield 2042 beta. It just felt like they tried to do too much. It made the controls overly complicated. If they could just stop changing the controls with every new game. He does a face palm emoji. Yeah, I mean, there's an identity crisis, right? Like that's the issue with the series. It seems like, according to a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they are trying. Yes, they're trying to find a path forward, and that means trying some different stuff and trying to find inspiration. And that means that one is going to feel different than the next in a way that Call of Duty doesn't feel that way. So, yeah.
All right, so let's go back to our earliest super chats now, going earliest to the latest here. From Pillar to Post says, hey guys, rolling to Zanesville, Ohio today, and wanted to ask about Gino from Mario RPG. Why hasn't Nintendo used the character in anything? Is it a rights issue with Square? People wanted him in Smash. It's a bit of a rights issue with Square, but like it seems like they could they would be able to play ball if they really wanted to. And Gino had a cameo appearance in one of the Mario and Luigi games at some point, so there was something there once. But aside from that, like there is just this weird Mario RPG was one of the first games that tried to expand the Mario lore into something kind of like real and coherent. And I think, we now know that some people at Nintendo, specifically Shigeru Miyamoto, maybe don't like that. So maybe he just doesn't like Gino. Maybe there just aren't any advocates for him there in Nintendo Japan right now. Like if I was working at Nintendo, I'd be like, I want to make a game starring Gino. That's how much I like that character. I believe in that character. That's how much I care. So, but there's no one over there like that right now. I still feel like, because now at this point, like who else is even left to put in Smash when the next Smash Bros. Games like does happen in like 5 to 10 years, like maybe we actually have a good chance of Gino getting in this time finally, because there are still people really vocal about it because it is such a good character. But we'll see.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, who else I want in Smash now is Ravenbeak.
Yes. Please. Oh my God.
Please.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. Andy says, hi, guys. What do you know about bootleg DS carts on eBay? Is there a better way for me to play the DS Castlevania games? Thanks. I mean, you could still buy those used relatively cheap if I think if you have any secondhand stores or even through online.
And the bootleg games work, right? I mean, like if you just want to play them.
I'm a good boy. I never bought one, so I don't know.
I mean, it's like hard to avoid. Like you could be a good boy and still like it's like hard. Like the sellers lie. The sellers lie.
If you get one under false pretenses,
that's what the GameSpot sells them. Like their GameStop. Like people don't even know that they're buying them. Like that's like they're everywhere.
Sure.
It's like really hard to get a legitimate cart for like Pokemon right now, for example.
I remember buying a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for the Dreamcast, like way back when, like probably like 2002 or something, because I lost my original copy somehow. And it was on eBay, and the guy never said it was like, like a ripped CD. That's what he said us. And I was mad, but it worked. So like, all right, well, whatever.
Yep. If you want to play it legit, like, yeah, you'll have to go through some hoops, try to go in person to somewhere and look for yourself. Otherwise, try to buy it. And then, the 3DS is really easy to hack right now. I'll say that.
Hey, now, don't get us in trouble. Like, Kotaku might be taking our cell soon. We don't want to get back in there. The Experience Share said, I sincerely look forward to starting my day with your show every morning. And although I'm more of a cat person myself, for you, I'll say it. Woof, woof. Thank you. Jeff's more of a cat person, too. So it's okay.
Yeah, Nintendogs plus cats is what we'll change it to. Last of the Nintendogs plus a cat.
Absolutely not. Kung Fu Hot Dog says, happy Friday, my favorite Sons of Anarchy. What are your pros/cons for owning a Switch? Is their games library better than PlayStation, Xbox? May buy one. I think it's an incredible game library. I think I like it more than the games library for just about any system I can really think of, honestly. Unless like I start going back to get systems with all-time great game libraries like PlayStation 2 and Super Nintendo. I was
gonna say, and I'm super into the indie scene right now in terms of like what indie developers are doing. There's so much good stuff, and all that stuff comes to Switch and normally plays really well. Yeah, I think the Switch is just fantastic in terms of games library.
The only downsides are like sometimes subpar ports and not great online support. Those are the downsides. But the games themselves are often fantastic. And at this point, it's pretty easy to like find out what the must-own games are. And a lot of them is the stuff you expect, like the Mario game, the Zelda game, the Metroid game.
If you're buying a console for a family, it's hard for me to recommend anything except for the Switch. If you're like a young person living alone, just trying to spend a lot of time playing games because it's your favorite hobby, like I would say the Switch could be your secondary system. Maybe get a PlayStation or Xbox first, but even then, like if you like Mario or Zelda, the Switch is a must-have. And then after that, there's more of a discussion.
Pixelated Pigeon says, completed Dread and loved it more than any other entry. However, the performance on my day one Switch was very iffy after the 2/3 mark. Anyone else? I didn't notice anything specifically after the 2/3 mark. Like there were certainly
I played on
rooms I would
OLED,
go
so
into.
I don't know. Yeah,
I also played on OLED, it's true. But there were like I would go into some rooms, and every once in a while, like a certain room would like the frame rate would go down a little bit, or after I would do like a super bomb or something, the frame rate would go down. Super bomb
for me is the time I noticed it. Otherwise, well, and during loading sequences when you're not doing anything. But that is the Switch right now. Like Link's Awakening, the problem with Link's Awakening is they were trying to load in the world seamlessly, and loading for the Switch, the CPU is just so slow at that stuff, so it was just chugging. And in this game, they just put those in loading sequences, so at least you weren't playing the game. So
Right. DangerMan1337 says, seems like a lot of behind the scene problems at DICE with Battlefield 2042. We talked about that a little bit. I bet there's anxiousness more than anything.
Yeah, I'll say that there's a couple things. Obviously, there are issues. They had to delay the game, so obviously there are problems. But also, a lot of the stuff is just normal game development, and every game sort of goes through a period like this for the most part. Maybe it's a little worse, but you know, as for like what the eventual quality of the game will be, maybe it'll be bad. Maybe it'll be bad, and bad games happen, and that would be a shame. But then I think the fallout there would just be what we talked about in terms of losing autonomy.
Brett Bingham says, my TV suffered major burn-in yesterday. Now looking for a replacement that has 120 hertz, Dolby Atmos, and Dolby Vision support. Any thoughts and suggestions for value?
Yeah, okay. Maybe the LG CX instead of the C1. The C1's the new one. And maybe get the LG CX for a little bit cheaper right now before they're no longer in stores. Really, the one TV, if you want all of the features, if you want Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, if you want 120, G-Sync, FreeSync, if you want all of the features, your one option is the LG CX. I will say you don't need all the features. It's nice that like you have this console that can do all this stuff. You want a TV that can support all this stuff. I get that, and I feel the same way to a certain extent. After testing some other TVs, especially like the Samsung ones that no one ever talks about, I'm like, this is almost brighter. It's not even OLED, but it's brighter, and I almost like it a little bit more in certain ways, especially like in a bright room. So I would say look around and don't feel like you actually need all the features. Maybe 120 hertz, I get that. A lot of TVs do support that. Just make sure you have HDMI 2.1 and it supports most of the features, and you'll be fine. You don't really need Dolby Vision and all this other stuff. Not to enjoy these games. No way.
All right. Next one here from One Mad Mother. I was wondering how the Red Wings blew 2 3-goal leads, then saw meaning you, Jeff's tweet. No more, Jeff. We can't afford to play against the Jinx. Happy Friday.
Yeah, it's because I tweeted about it. Absolutely. I definitely jinxed them. That was a rough game. They were up 3-0 and then 6-3. Yeah, it was rough, but oh well. Or maybe it was like 4-1 is what it was. But the problem here is that it's the Red Wings, and this is how they're playing right now. So, oh well.
I want to go to a hockey game. It's been a while.
Yeah, me too.
I can go see the Penguins in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm gonna make Stephanie Tinsley take me to the Avalanche Red Wings game when it comes
there you
up.
go.
Yeah.
Jeremy G just says money and then gave us money. So thank you for that. Good Morning Games says, hey fellas, why is the Sega Genesis controller $50 when the Super Nintendo controller is only $30? Is Sega getting a cut of each console sale? Yes, I think that is. How much is that Nintendo 64 controller?
I thought it was $50.
It probably is. Also, that one has Rumble built in at least.
Also, I'm buying that thing. I am 100% buying that Nintendo 64 controller. A wireless Nintendo 64 controller that is just going to work with the Switch. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, maybe I do want one. It does annoy me that every time we like get Sega Genesis controllers now, it is the 3-button one and not the 6-button one. Like, just give us the 6-button.
Oh, that they are getting the 6-button one in Japan and Europe, I think. At least in Japan for sure.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's messed up. Why do that? Like, if it was $50 in the 6-button controller, I'd be like, maybe. I'm not paying $50 for the 3-button controller. I'm not a punk.
Big Fresh 37 says, sorry, Mike, they will never offer the WWF games because Chris Benoit is in them. Would he have been? Because he was in WCW for most of all the 90s, I thought. When did he join WWF? I thought it was 2001.
Late 90s, 2000. Yeah, I guess maybe that sounds right.
So I wonder if I forget if he was in the roster for No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000.
I mean, also, they could just take him out. They could just take him out.
They could take also though it's actually starting to be long enough now that it is just like a curiosity more than anything. Like, that wound isn't quite as fresh as it used to be, right? Like, it's that's Chris Benoit. He did that thing 15 years ago. That was awful.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's almost a historical event now.
That's a historical event, but the things that like led to it, the CTE and that stuff, like the concussion stuff. That stuff's all still pending. That's all still litigation waiting to finally come down on them. So. Yeah, they don't want to deal with that.
Just give us the All Japan wrestling game that they made with that engine that we never got over here. Then
I think that is way more likely, and they should just release that everywhere. I agree.
I want
they
that.
can make that happen.
RDX, son of a Fett, says, I'm definitely ordering a Series X fridge in 4 days. Congrats. I'm kind of joking. You know what? I could use a mini fridge in my office.
My wife got me a mini fridge for Christmas, and it's been great. I do keep in my office right here. It's fantastic. So if we get one, Mike, you can do the review for it.
I will review it. I mean,
Yes.
yes, I like the way how it keeps things cold. Yeah. And it looks like an Xbox.
Mike, I was gonna end this poll, but it keeps sliding slowly in my favor.
Oh my God, you're getting so many pity. You're getting so many pity votes
it's
now.
pity. It's pity when it goes in my favor. And listen,
you
might be onto something.
You're excited that you have 35% now. That's what you're happy about.
It started. It was 20%. That's a pretty big shift. Like
because you jumped the gun and said something like 2 seconds after it went up.
Honestly, I thought that was like, okay, this seems right. This feels even more right if I'm being honest. All right, now I think it's it's still shifting. 30%.
It's shifting because you're talking about it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a good politician, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I already talked about this before. People generally are inclined to go against my opinion on these things.
Okay, that's what it is.
It's
not that I have at least a small point, like a 1/3 of the poll point. Nope.
To be clear, what you said on Twitter was no. The main complaint was that it was more of the same.
And I admit that I'm wrong.
Happy that it's closer.
Can I say one of the main complaints? Because it was one of them. All right. Keep going, Mike. I think we have more super chats, right?
Yes, we do have more super chats here. Steve says, feels grubby, no pun intended, by Nintendo. Unfortunately, they are ignoring their longtime fans and pushing away new fans with these prices. I mean, it is like, we are at a point like that. Like old Nintendo 64 games, especially old Genesis games, those should just be things that people get. They shouldn't be things people are charged exorbitant prices for. It's weird, but again, like it's like they can get away with it, so they will, and hopefully they at least do things to add to the value here instead of like thinking of a way to charge even more for it. I don't know.
Yep.
Next, Nintenderic. How is Nintendo going to handle third-party games on the online service going forward? It seems to be a struggle for them lately, and a lot of them are just releasing separately instead, like the Castlevania collection. Well, don't forget that Castlevania Bloodlines is one of the games that's going to be offered on the Genesis selection there. So, like, maybe that is part of the reason why this is higher, is because they actually are going after some of these bigger third-party games now. So, like, you know, that'll be fine. Maybe that's something that can justify it a bit. Again, show us GoldenEye, show us something that's exciting. But getting Castlevania on there's good. Get Rocket Knight on there. That's fine. So, yeah, I hope so. I hope we're getting more of these third-party games for them. Kieran Buckley says, I love Nintendo, but $50 for the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack is purely greedy and a scummy move. Can't support it. Yeah, don't support it. You don't have, absolutely don't have to.
Don't.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to either right now. We'll see. Again, I have plenty of ways to play Nintendo 64 and Genesis games. So
if they had abnormal status says for $50 they should get Dreamcast games. If they had Dreamcast games, that would be fantastic. That would be a no-brainer.
Well, so if you have Sega on board, like get Master System games on there, man. Get some like Saturn games.
Saturn, Saturn, yeah. That would be
Saturn would be so great because Saturn games are hard to emulate. So if they can figure something out, of course they're hard to emulate, so that's going to be a problem.
Probably why it's not happening, yeah.
Right, but if you could get some of those games on there, man, that would be awesome. Brett Bingham says, if it were possible, 100% of Fallout 4 players would have made Preston Garvey disappear if it meant no more dialogues of settlements needing your help. Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, man, Fallout 4, I enjoyed playing through it fine enough, but that's a game I have absolutely no desire to go back to anytime soon, or probably ever. Like, I want to play Fallout 3 again. I want to play New Vegas again. But there was something about Fallout 4 that was just kind of, what was the mid, right? That's what the kids are saying these days. It was a bit mid.
Fallout 4 is a fantastic game. People just didn't like it because it was a bit more of an immersive sim. So yeah, maybe it was less of an RPG.
It was way less of an immersive sim than like New Vegas and Fallout 3.
No. It was more. You're saying it's less of an RPG. Is it less of an RPG or less of an immersive sim?
Okay, what do you mean by immersive sim? Because immersive sim to me means that there are multiple ways to go about fulfilling your objectives, and I feel like there's much less of that in Fallout 4. I feel like in Fallout 4, most of the answers to things were to just shoot things.
I guess I mean like it's less there was less like talking options and stuff like that, and more like just kind of mechanically in the world there was ways to solve things. But listen, it's been a long time.
I just talking options.
No, I'm not saying. No,
I like maxing
you're
out
right.
my character's charisma and not having to fight the final boss because of that.
You're right.
I like that.
I'm not saying you shouldn't like that. That stuff was fantastic. I'm just saying Fallout 4 wasn't going for that, and I get and this is going against my point.
Worse.
Yeah, I love Fallout 4, and I spent so much time with it. I would like to go back and play it and play it again. Absolutely.
I did. I somehow forgot that you're a big Fallout 4 fan, and man, that's funny.
Yep, love Fallout 4. Yep.
I want you to vocalize that as much as possible. I want you to really
that's fine.
emphasize how much you like Fallout 4 to people
I will own it.
so that people will respect my opinions more than yours.
That's fine. I'm right. I know I'm right. It's a great game. People just it was different, so people didn't like it.
Okay, all right. Get over yourself, Jeff. I'm
agreeing with you in the poll, though. I'm agreeing with you in the poll. That's the thing, though.
All right. Yeah, Fallout 4 is a masterpiece, actually. There's Jeff's hot take for you for the week. Kratos says, greetings to Thor, and he means you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Biggest Fallout 4 fan in the world, apparently. Isaac Spencer says, Mike, how's your hair doing down there this week? Oh, right. Yeah, no more grays. If that's what you're asking. Talk. Jet black. Jet black.
Can we go back to talk about my Fallout 4 opinion rather than your pubes?
Jet black radio future. We're good.
Oh, what?
Matthew Price says, hey guys, do you think GameCube games have a possibility of coming to Nintendo Switch Online? I think there's a possibility. Honestly, still not a great one. I'll still believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I right. That's when I'm like, everything's possible. Doesn't seem likely though. That doesn't seem like they are going to resell many of those GameCube games before they ever put it on the Nintendo Switch Online service. So Metroid Prime 1 coming next year. We'll see some more stuff. Yeah, they'll sell them to us again individually.
All right, Jeff. There's some divisiveness in the chat about Fallout 4. Now, let's end this poll. It's been at 35%, 65%.
It starts sliding back in your favor, so we can end it.
Just ask people, do you like Fallout 4? Yes or no?
Well, I mean, I know most people don't like it, but that most people have bad taste, Mike.
I think most. No. I think most people like it. So honestly, that's almost generous to you because I don't hate it.
The prevailing opinion right now is to not like Fallout 4.
For sure. It is like, people are against it. People are against it. So I don't know if that's the way you want to put it exactly. Well, let's just see how it goes. So do you like Fallout 4? Or do you want to say Fallout 4 underrated or overrated? Do you want to put it like that?
Sure, that's a good one. Fallout 4 overrated, underrated. Okay.
Or rated just right. Maybe I don't know if you want a third option.
No, let's force people to make a decision.
Yeah, don't be a coward. Don't be mid.
Don't be mid.
Don't be mid like Fallout 4 is.
35% say being more the same for Fallout 4.
Yeah, you're getting generous. You're getting
that to me that sounds right.
Why did I agree to put this poll like this? Because even I'm like, well, I'm not going to say it's overrated. We'll see. This is probably going to be pretty 50-50-ish, I bet, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Brett Brigham says, I think I needed to hear that regarding Dolby Vision. Thanks for the shopping advice, Jeff. Yeah, I'm not mad, but I have like when I got my big new TV, I think a couple years ago now.
It's FOMO.
It's 60 hertz. And like, what do I care that I don't play 120 frames per second like Ori on my Xbox? It doesn't really matter. But the fact that I can't do it.
Yes. FOMO. Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's a real thing. If you step back and look at it, it'd be nice to have it. Very rarely are you going to be taking advantage of it. It's just very rare. And even then, you're not going to notice a huge difference. It's just not that big of a difference for most people. I guess if you're playing competitively, you want as high a frame rate as possible and all that stuff, but then go get a 360 hertz monitor and play on PC. Like, what are we talking about here? So I would just say, don't fret about it too much. Get a TV that looks good to you in person. Go to Best Buy or whatever, look at some stuff. And if you are in a bright room, if that's where you play games, like if there's like a lot of windows, I would go with the Samsung over the LG CX. So yeah.
Dr. Butthugger says, haven't listened live in forever. You all rule. My question, Stadia, what's the latest word? My latest interaction with Stadia was like a month or two ago. I wrote a story about a game, and like as usual, I list the platforms it's coming to, and I didn't list Stadia, and Stadia like reached out to me like, hey, you forgot to mention Stadia. I was like, oh, you guys still, right? It's like that meme with like the person behind like Dwight and scares like, or still here.
Or like,
I was like, I'll get right to that. Sorry about that mistake.
You're like Mo, and like you're like right in the store, and you're throwing him out of the bar, and then he comes up. Yeah, he comes up behind Barney. Comes up behind you, and that's Stadia. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think of what's up with Stadia? Are there really any big plans for that now? Is it basically that's done?
I mean, I feel like they're going to be a white label thing. They're going to like just have like I bet there's eventually going to be like Nintendo Switch games running on Stadia, and you just won't know it because you'll just be buying them separately.
Sure, but like a Stadia as a platform and not as a technology.
No, no, because they'd have to make games themselves. They're not going to do that.
But we already know they're not.
Yeah, they said they're not going to, right? Yeah, but it was like even if they were like, maybe we could find a way. Like, no, they were never going to do it. They were never ever going to do it. They said they would. I knew then they were never going to release a game, and they won't. They haven't. They've already closed it down. So yeah. Nothing.
Another awful GDC memory was when the Stadia stuff was happening. We all had to get on that. Somebody asked me why I hate GDC so much. It's because it's far away. It's really long. You're there you're there as long as you are for E3, with about a tenth of as much of the same stuff happening. It's in a bad part of San Francisco. I've seen a lot of penises and needles just going back and forth to GDC. Right?
Yep.
And it's like I don't blame
human
the
feces.
Right.
Yep.
It's like, it's like I don't want to like blame those people because they're living in awful conditions, but it like,
no. This is a San Francisco problem. This is the city of San Francisco having some of the most like the richest corporations in the history of the world, and then not using any of that money to take care of their people. This is a San Francisco problem. That's why going there bums me out, because it's like this capitalist utopia, and then you look around one corner and it's like human suffering everywhere, and it sucks. I hate it. It bums me out. I hate San Francisco.
Our hotel is always like too far away and it's crappy, and we're always sharing it, and Dean comes back into the room at like 3 a.m. and then plays Detroit 2 Human or whatever the hell it was called.
Detroit 2 Human is a hell of a smash up of game names.
You have two equal games, right?
Yep.
And
real quick about that Stadia reveal. They had a museum like set up by the Video Game History Foundation.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find an image of it, but it was like Stadia, like the latest thing in the history of games. And there was like
Dreamcast
and a Virtual Boy and all of these failures and stuff. It was just like one failure after another, and like next up is Stadia. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And the people that put that together were like, this was a mishmash of like multiple different ideas, and at the end they're like, yeah, just put these things in there, and so you end up with this thing that just is a series of failures. And they were like laughing about it, and they were just paid to come there and put it together. So it was just Stadia. That is so Stadia to me.
Gosh, I think some people like GDC because they just really like, and maybe I'm a bad journalist, like they really like, because you get very good access to actual game developers, I guess. I don't want to really talk to that many people. I could just email them or talk to them on the phone, really. I don't need to like be in a room with them. Yeah,
I think a lot of people like GDC also because there's like parties, and they go there and they hang out, and that's where they build these contacts. But being around drunk people in the video game industry, I think is has bad vibes these days. So yeah, I feel less like going to those things these days. So yeah. Any other super chats, Mike?
No, I was just devastated by real chat. Somebody just said that my voice is extra annoying when I get excited, which I know is true, but you don't need to say it. From Pillar to Post says, any updates on the new Sonic game? No, they did that slight reveal of it, and we're pretty sure the name is Sonic Rangers because like that got out there at some point or another. Now, I'm curious to see what it is. I'm kind of hoping that I don't want it to be another game in the Sonic Colors or Sonic Generation style or Sonic Forces. I don't want a Sonic Forces sequel, is what I'm really saying here. But the last time they tried to do something completely new, it was Lost World, which like seemed like a promising idea, and then it didn't really work out. So I don't know. The guy who said that my voice was annoying now apologizes and says that they love me, so I love them too. But trust me, I get it. I have to hear myself talk constantly, and it's even deeper for me because like of internal sound waves and stuff like that. It's way worse for you guys, so I don't blame you at all. Jeff, that's it for the super chats for now.
Yeah, no worries. I hate my voice too. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah,
your voice is so much better than mine.
Yeah, but it's like that thing where you hear yourself talk, but then I also ADHD causes like dysmorphia and stuff. So like I hear it, like I could hear tics about my language that I really dislike, and it's not just the stammering, which does bother me a lot, but like also just the way my mouth.
As much as you think you do.
No, I know, but like it's worse when you hear it, and then like, but I can hear the way my mouth like forms words when I'm like editing something. I'm like, and I don't like that at all.
I am glad ever since like doing the podcast and stuff a lot, like I've gotten so much more used to hearing my voice. It doesn't bother me as much as it used to. I'm like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, like I can feel those, like I feel those feelings, and I just like, okay, whatever, and I just move right past them.
All right.
I have a bunch of questions I want to get to, but first, let's get a break and hear from our sponsors. All right, Mike, do you need to go potty or anything?
I
or
do need to go potty.
All right, cool. Yeah, go take care of yourself. Maybe even mute
time.
it. Yeah, maybe even mute it. All right.
So people were upset I didn't mute last time, but you know what? Nah, you guys are perverts.
All right, chat. So we'll get back. We'll answer some of these questions from the Discord here pretty soon. Yeah, I think, you know, hating your voice is like something that like a lot of people have. Everyone deals with that stuff. So yeah, absolutely. But it is
Awesome.
Oh yeah, Christian. You have a beautiful voice. What are you worried about? Or is this? Wait, who is this? I can't hear you.
I am Christian.
Okay. Yes,
Can
Christian.
you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Wait, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you make a sound effect of Mike peeing? Oh man, gross, Mike! Gross, Mike! Mike, you're gross!
You had to ask Mike about anime. He hates anime, but now Disney got into the anime business.
So he loves anime, is what you're saying, yeah. What anime business did Disney get into? I guess
they're making an anime. They're making actual anime.
Huh, okay. What does that mean?
Yeah. It means that they're making anime. They produce an anime. They're
like paying a Japanese studio to make a cartoon, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're making American, and it's based on a Disney IP. It's weird. It's horny. It's weird. It's gonna be weird because it's horny, and they're gonna put it on Disney Plus. So it's gonna be hella weird.
You say you don't like your voice, but the way you say horny with that H, horny, is very good.
Horny?
Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, hey, listen, horny's a good business. I'm not too surprised to hear that Disney's going to get into it and make some real money finally in that anime.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Everybody.
You're muted, Mike.
Anime. Netflix. Everybody.
Are we talking about Disney anime?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm back.
Okay, bye.
Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna start back up again. All right, Mike, you were back from going wee. We are going to get into the questions from the Discord. Let's start here with Gigamir. Do you think releasing Metroid Prime and Fusion at the same time helped or hurt the respective launch of both titles? I can't think of another video game series that has ever released completely different entries at the same time like this. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I guess if it was going to happen, it probably would have happened around that time of like the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah,
or the
I feel like the Oracle.
Vita.
I feel like the Oracle games and Majora's Mask were close, but not exact. I was wondering about this too because you were talking about this on Grubb Snacks, and yeah, I was like, yeah, did that help or did that hurt? I think it helped because I think
Metroid Prime was the best-selling Metroid, so probably helped.
Right, and I think a lot of people got interested in Fusion, and there was the connectivity, and it was one of the more interesting things of it because again, it wasn't too much, right? It was just like, oh, you unlock this outfit here. They kind of serve different masters. Like Metroid Fusion was Metroid 4, made by the guy who did Super Metroid, and it was the real sequel to that. And Metroid Prime was like doing this kind of different thing. I think it helped. Nothing like that will ever happen again, right?
No, it does not make sense anymore. Yep.
Right, but who knows? Like maybe it would have been slightly better if it was even just a 6-month break between Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion, right?
Maybe, yeah. I think you're probably right. It probably would have been a little bit better if they separated them. And Fusion came out 6 months later, and it was a nice treat for Prime fans who are like still buzzing from that game. That probably would have been better. That said, I don't think it was hurt too much. And really, I think it was like, I think if Fusion came out first, it would have been worse. So like coming out at the same time because there's that buzz. I think that probably still helped it a little bit in terms of like, you know, the best like it's not the best possible like way to release a game, but it wasn't the worst either.
It was great for a Metroid fan, though. I had fun that day. I'll tell you what.
It was awesome. And really, like, it's kind of like, I feel like we're maybe entering that again, like, depending on how good Metroid Prime 4 is. Like, we got Dread. We're going to wait a couple years, and that's, like, way different than getting it on the same day. But if it comes out on the Switch, it's like, oh, man, the Switch got a couple good years of Metroid stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, compared to, like, the usual cadence of Metroid releases, that's practically the same day, a difference of 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah, practically the same day. That's right. From Nick Turbo, why is EA remaking Dead Space instead of just remastering it? The original Dead Space still looks pretty good. Because there's a bunch of factors there, but
and one of the reasons is because the original Dead Space does still look good.
Right.
So why remaster it?
Exactly. Yes. It makes it so much easier to remake it if the original game is more modern originally and holds up, because you can take a lot more of those pieces and just copy and paste and then add the new graphics and new art. And then, you know, voila, you have a new game that you could sell for $70, $60, $70, whatever they're going to charge for it. remastering Dead Space, they probably couldn't get away with selling it for $60. There wouldn't be as much excitement. There would be some excitement. People would be happy to replay the remaster, but you're going to get a lot more sales if you remake the game like Resident Evil. Resident Evil has shown that those games can sell if they're remade, and that's EA knows all these things, and they want to invest in single player games, and also they want to reestablish the franchise so they can take it forward into the future. Doing a remake instead of a remaster enables them to do that much more easily, where it's like, hey, come and buy into this new franchise. We are investing in it again in a whole new way, so that if you get in on the ground floor this time, as we go forward in Dead Space 2, 3, 4, whatever, you'll come along with us on this new story. It just lines up in terms of business sense and development sense. It all just works for them.
I think the Resident Evil 2 remake factor is huge.
Huge, yes, without a doubt. Aaron Tonsis. Hey, Jeff and Mike, since EA may be renaming the FIFA series, how would this affect their ability to use the actual players from professional soccer? I'm not a soccer fan, but this potential rights kerfuffle has me interested enough to keep an eye on the story. Do you guys have any insight on this? My understanding is they make separate deals with the players and the clubs. Like, the clubs are not owned by FIFA in any real way. They I think they organize the leagues. I don't know that much about FIFA, I'll be honest.
I don't know that much either, but that sounds right. I think if FIFA also had the rights to players and the clubs, then they would really be able to just ask for any price that they wanted.
Right, exactly. And there wouldn't be any, and they would pay, like EA would pay. Mm-hmm. But the fact that EA is like, well, we might not do this, that means they're still going to have the players and the clubs, because that's what matters. From Nick Turbo, can I get an update on Balan Book? No. I tell you what, the idea of reading that book right now gives me existential dread. So no, I'm having too much fun playing video games right now. So I'll get back to it eventually.
Torture yourself.
I know I'd have to torture myself. We'll see. From Delta Prime 84, have you heard if Sony has any plans for remasters / remakes of the infamous PS3 games? I haven't heard, but I think that at least remasters would make some sense, or just like getting them back up on the PS5 in some way.
It's pretty funny that I was like, which infamous PlayStation 3 games? Which one? Oh, literally infamous. Right.
I know. The way I read it, I was like trying to at the last second, I'm like, oh, I gotta say this like it's a proper noun, and it still came out like I meant like an infamous PS3 game. Yeah.
I think they just make a new Infamous, and that was something that was rumored when the State of Play was happening. That didn't happen, and maybe that's still a thing. Yeah. But yeah.
For Benji Bob, happy Friday. Jeff, the Detroit Red Wings suck. Grubb. Wow. And Mike, the Columbus Blue Jackets suck. Minotti.
Ha! I don't care about them, so take that.
I like the Columbus Blue Jackets more than Mike does.
Yeah, you see, well, I'm not a giant hockey fan just because I'm such a Cleveland sports guy.
Right.
And because I'm a Cleveland sports guy, I look at Pittsburgh sports very skeptically. But I do like the Penguins because they don't have like a Cleveland team to go against. So if I have a hockey team, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Hockey's fun to watch in person, though.
It's very fun to watch in person. It's super fun. Yep. We have a very local like minor league team here. Yeah. The Youngstown Phantoms. Even going to those games is a great time.
Yep. And then here's a parenthetical, everybody. Jeff, I'd ask you to play the ESPN hockey theme song, but unlike Cruise and Blast, ESPN would absolutely take the video down. You are right. Yes.
That's true.
Disney's lawyers would come for us. I know Jeff tweeted about it earlier this week, but I did find your perspective on the Adam Schefter controversy interesting. If you or Mike had the balls to send Bobby Kotick an article to proofread and edit before you published it, you would never work in the industry again. Yet video game fans constantly harp on games journalism, including just this week with Metroid, and complain about a lack of good reporting. I don't know if there's a question there, but yeah. That's true.
It's interesting. I mean, I gotta tell you, I definitely been asked to do that once. And it was when I was even relatively younger than business. And even back then, I was like, no.
Yeah. I won't first do of all, that. I don't want to do that. Like, I have no desire to do that. Second of all, we're not allowed to do that. Like, yeah. It's very easy just to say no to that if that ever comes up.
Right. I agree to the point, though. Like, the standards for us are high. I think there was this and, so, I hate talking about Gamergate. That whole thing was so disingenuous. And somehow, anyways, like there was a result in that where a lot of people were like, we need to like shapen up a bit, or we need to be more transparent about how good our ethics are, right? Mm-hmm. As if it actually was all about ethics and game journalism. And it's like, why are we doing this? They're never going to care. They're never going to be impressed. They're never going to be happy anyways, right?
Yeah, so, we have an ethics page on our website. VentureBeat has an ethics thing. The only time it's ever come up is when someone needs to use it as a weapon against us. Like I block someone on Twitter. Like it says in your ethics thing that you are willing to defend your position. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I could tell that you're just bad faith. I don't have to talk to you if I don't want to. And it's like only ever used as a weapon against us. So I'm glad we have it. We mean it, but the people that we brought it up for originally, we're never going to care.
Right.
From Nick Turbo. If you could create a large Nintendo or PlayStation crossover, what genre would it be, not including fighting? So like a crossover game that uses like a lot of their IPs, I guess. I mean,
yeah. Oh my gosh, fighting is what I go to.
Yeah, and I want a Nintendo kart racer that has all the Nintendo characters in it instead of just the Mario World characters. But I guess beyond that, a beat 'em up is a good one to go to, right?
Beat 'em up.
Yeah, full player beat 'em up.
I mentioned that Mario and Wario beat 'em up a while ago, and like that's still stuck in my head.
Same here. Yeah, that would be fantastic.
That would be very good. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think like what else. Like, gosh, I don't know how many other big like I don't want an RPG thing like that. There's that Namco crossover RPG thing. I think it was Namco and Capcom. I can't remember now. That never really interested me very much. Maybe if it was like a card game, kind of like the Pokemon card game for Game Boy and the SNK versus Capcom card game for Neo Geo Pocket Color. Maybe that would be something. But I tell you what, Smash Brothers basically does anything I would ever want out of a big crossover thing.
From Jedi Moss 4, how tired are you of the endless debate over the pricing of certain games?
Oh God,
I'm pretty tired.
Yeah, I refuse to engage with that Metroid thing, even like in the jokey part. It's ridiculous. Of course, Metroid is worth $60.
And if it's not to you, then don't buy it. It's so simple. It's so simple.
You don't have to tweet about it endlessly.
Right. If you're because then it's like it's clearly just bad faith. You are kind of upset that people were mad about one of your games that you like costing more, and that's all it's about. And it's like, okay, I don't care. Get over it.
Right. Again, and also like one of your games is so pathetic, as if they have some kind of like ownership, like over the idea of Returnal or something. Like,
yes,
give me a break.
All right, hang on. Thunderstruck. Okay, so Benji Bolt sent me. He sent me the theme song for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Thunderstruck, and I'm not going to play that on the podcast. First of all, it's AC/DC, but
that's
also
AC/DC. Yes.
Go to hell, Benji Bot. How dare you? Delta Prime 84 has a pair here. Given Sony is pushing Gran Turismo as an esports title, how soon do you think Gran Turismo 7 comes to PC? I think pretty quickly after it comes to play, like a year later. I bet it'll be on PC.
Makes sense.
Right. It makes sense for what they're trying to do there. And then you mentioned on Grubb Snacks there is a large audience for Need for Speed games. There is. I'd love Underground 1 and 2 as well as the Razor Callahan Most Wanted game to come to modern platforms. Have you heard about any more Need for Speed remasters in the works? That studio that was doing those remasters was like their job. And I guess I haven't looked into it recently, but I would imagine my guess was they were just going to go to the next Need for Speed remaster and do another one of those. Underground seems due. Underground seems like it's due to come back. So I would assume it was that. So
you know what I want? I want freaking the Need for Speed, the 3DO game, which was actually the first game in the series. I want that to come out on Switch.
How many of them are just called Need for Speed now? There's at least 2, but I thought there might have been 3 at this point.
Well, the first one's called The Need for Speed.
So there was a the. Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, the first game, the 3DO debut of this, because the EA was actually all about the 3DO, because it had a good Road Rash game too. But yeah,
I think 3DO was founded by like an EA executive, right? Like what's his name?
I think that's right. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of EA love on there. But yeah, I want to play the Need for Speed, man. Because apparently that was much more just like a driving game, more like even more so than a racing game, like almost like Outrun. Like Outrun, you're not really racing, you're driving.
Yeah. From Turbo Sean, happy Friday, Jeff. I want all 6 feet and 3 inches of Samus to step on me and call me pathetic. Grubb. Accurate.
Wait, that's me. But that's me too. What am I now?
And Mike, Big Boss Minotti is what you are.
Oh, okay, that's good too.
Over the weekend, I 100%ed Metroid Dread, and I am left with an empty feeling in my core. I have a sense of dread, you might say, regarding when I'll get to go on another new adventure with my favorite bounty hunter. After sobbing uncontrollably in the corner, clutching my squishy Metroid amiibo, they did release a squishy one, didn't they? I did what any rational human being would do, consume copious amounts of anime. I binged all of Star Wars Visions, and it cured my Star Wars fatigue, reminding me how cool that universe is when we're not forced to follow the Skywalkers. When I finished, a burning question entered my mind. one that I knew I had to ask the Beef and Cheddar boys, the premier experts on the subject. Gentlemen, I must know, how do you feel about bunny girls being canon to Star Wars now? If you haven't watched Visions yet, same question, but I imagine your answers will be hilariously misinformed.
They bunny, man, everybody's copying Final Fantasy XIV now. I'm very happy to report that Star Wars is good again, then.
You're right.
That's fantastic news.
Yes, listen, as long as those bunny girls are horny, I'll be fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're bunny girls. Of course they're horny. No, don't ask stupid questions.
Yeah. Okay, hey, thank you for putting me in my place there. I really respect that.
Yes, yeah, well, you're welcome.
From Epic Open World, rank these franchises as far as viability and success going forward. Metroid, Castlevania, Donkey Kong, and Mega Man. All very old and storied franchises that have had ups and downs in their history. Maybe it's not fair I have Mega Man on this list. Sorry, Mike.
I'll tell you what, it hurts me because I think that's last. I think Mega Man's last right now, and it hurts me a lot. But so I'll tell you. So I liked Mega Man 11, and I thought it was a very good game, and it sold fine. Part of me is like, they maybe should have gone harder on that. They should have maybe said something really impressive there, and not just in terms of making a Mega Man game for Mega Man fans, right? Which of course is what I do want, but maybe something like this Metroid Dread where people are actually buzzing about it because it's so impressive in some of these other ways, right? So Mega Man still needs that moment. Like with Metroid, with Donkey Kong, and with Castlevania, you can kind of just make another one of those, right? Like with Castlevania, it's been so long, you have to do something a little flashier, but people will be on board with it. But yeah, I feel like they've missed a lot of opportunities with Mega Man so far, and something has to be done there that's, really interesting. Maybe something like what they're doing with Kirby, to be honest, something like that.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing about Donkey Kong, but Donkey Kong is in a situation where there's a lot of opportunities to bring him back, and it would probably be pretty exciting. They could do a lot of different things. They could do a full 3D game. They could do a game that is a spiritual sequel to Donkey Kong 94. They could even do that in 3D. I'm like a spiritual, like Donkey Kong 94 2 in 3D. Like, what would that be? Like, there's a lot of possibilities there that are like very.
Even if
they
it's
don't do anything, it'd be exciting.
Even if it's just another Donkey Kong Country, people like Tropical Freeze a lot.
Right.
I mean, for a lot of people, Donkey Kong Country that was like one of the best selling games on the Super Nintendo. It's like 1 or 2 or something like that. Yep. So there's still, like, Donkey Kong Country was at some point a very big selling game, right? It's not like Metroid and Mega Man where we're always like, these games have never sold more than 3 million copies. I don't think a Mega Man game has ever sold more than 2 million copies, or something like that. Maybe more than 3. But yeah, so I would say Mega Man is last for viability, and then that's Donkey Kong third right now, just because I think Metroid is on the up and up after this. Castlevania might be number 1, just because there has been a break. There is a thirst. There's a lot of new people interested in Castlevania.
The anime is very popular.
Yep.
Yeah, anime's doing very well. So yeah, I think I agree.
Time is now.
Yep. I think I agree with that list. I could maybe switch around Metroid and Donkey Kong, but really, overall,
close.
Right? It's close, exactly. All right, let's see. There's another one from Epic Open World here. How often do you guys just browse Game Pass? My play later list is very large. Also, Mike is controlling the Game Pass algorithm, because when I turn on my Xbox, the Game Pass dashboard tile keeps telling me to play Kingdom Hearts 3. Mike, please make it stop.
I wish I was telling you to play River City Girls. That's been my favorite Game Pass game, really. I wonder if it's still there, because I know things swap out. I know Tales of Vesperia is leaving, which was a bit of a bummer, because I keep recommending that game to people, and for a while it's like, it's on Game Pass, and now it won't be. I don't browse like a crazy amount. There are every once in a while, especially if I have a long weekend or something, that's when I'll browse, and I'll usually try to find an indie game. The last time it was when I discovered Spiritfarer, and I played a lot of that, and that was pretty good.
I don't browse it too often, just because I have so many games that I get for work that it's like kind of hard to be like, oh, I wish I had a game to play. Let me go look at Game Pass. I do occasionally. I have the Xbox app open on my PC a lot of times, so I'll see what's on there usually. Delta Prime 84 is back. Did EA learn its lesson about forcing everyone to use Frostbite, or can I look forward to EA replacing Codemaster's highly optimized Ego engine with Frostbite in a future F1 title? So Codemasters owns that engine, so now EA owns that engine. So all the concerns there about like using Unreal, where you have to pay 5% to Epic or something, isn't there. So they'll let them keep using Ego. There won't be an issue there. And I do think overall they've learned the lesson about forcing everyone to use Frostbite. I think I reported that Dragon Age is going to use Unreal Engine a few months back, and that was like a big moment where like people are like, hey, or they're at least considering using Unreal Engine. Where it's like, hey, like BioWare wants to have the option to use what they think is best, and they're investigating Unreal, and maybe that means like they're going to take some tech from Unreal and replicate it in Frostbite, but they're at least like looking at their options. I think that is something that's changed, where previously they wouldn't even have had that as an option. So yeah, I think they've learned their lesson a little bit. All right, got a few more here. Nintendo Bro. To preface my question, let's just say that my wife is not a gamer. She mostly plays mobile games and has dabbled in a little bit of Mario Kart and Mario Party. She has watched me play a little bit of Metroid Dread here and there, but I was playing Metroid Dread yesterday, and I was in a very action-packed, tense moment of the game, and I was messing up the timing of the space jump over and over, and consequently died over and over also. I got on one try in particular and exclaimed loudly, "Jump, woman," to which my wife responded, "Samus is a woman?" Samus is a woman. First, I was surprised that there are still people that don't know that Samus Aran is a woman, but it also made me wonder how players must have felt when they discovered the same in the original Metroid back in the day. Spoiler alert, I wouldn't know. I wasn't alive. Sorry, Jeff. Wow. So my question is, has there ever been a bigger surprise in video game than Samus Aran being a woman?
I still think the KOTOR twist is the best twist the video game has ever had. And I don't want to say it because I think a lot of people are going to be playing for the first time. So yeah, I don't I remember knowing that Samus was a girl's kid. I don't remember like discovering it on my own or something. I don't remember being surprised by it. I think even when I just only had an NES, I think at that point it was common knowledge to me that yes, Samus is a girl.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but it is cool. Like I play that game in front of my kids, and I'd be like, hey, there's Samus. There she's jumping, and I'm like, don't you think she's cool? And my little girl's like, that's a girl? Like having a hard time comprehending that's a girl. So it's like cool that like have like a character like that I can point to and be like, yeah, that character that you for some reason is like coded, maybe not a woman, way more in Dread she is. Like you can the way she walks and moves and the way that they give her outfit, like definitely it's clearly a woman. But it's cool to like point to my daughter and say, hey, that is a woman. That's a cool, strong character, and isn't that neat? And she's like into it now, watching me play. So yeah. From Louis Patelli, ladies and gentlemen, The Weekend. So, StarWars.com teased a new game announcement this week for 12/14. I got that date earlier wrong. What game do you?
Hear the words.
What game do you think it will be? I don't know. I'm like, I told people not to get their hopes up on Grubb Snacks, and I'm like, maybe it's the Zynga Star Wars thing, and they give it a release date or something like that.
Wouldn't that not even be like a control? How could you even use a controller in that case, though, if it's a phone game?
Because it's coming to Switch.
Anyways.
It's coming to Switch. That game's on Switch.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yep.
Gosh, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I want to. I mean, look, there's been a lot of the games that have been ported lately by
Aspire, yeah.
Right, Aspire. So maybe it's just another one of those now. Like maybe we're getting
maybe it's the Quantum Dream one. Maybe it's the Quantum Dream one. I think if anything it's going to be that one. If it's a big new reveal, it's that.
Maybe we're getting because I know they did Jedi Outcast. Maybe we're getting Dark Forces getting ported to everything.
That would be
kind of like in the same way Quake. They should remake that game. 64 has gotten some good stuff there.
Night Dive. I'm gonna go tell MVG to do that right now.
Right. Well, isn't he busy with Power Slave? Right.
Yeah, he's got. I think they have a few things in the works though.
I'm excited for Power Slave.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm telling you what. I'm sure the thought has occurred to him to do Dark Forces.
I still want to yell at him about it.
Fair enough.
From Louis Patelli, I don't quite understand all the discourse this week about reviews and gamers' likes and dislikes. Video games are art, and art is subjective. For instance, I played about 4 hours of Metroid Dread and quickly realized it was not for me. On the other hand, I'm about 11 hours into Far Cry 6 and loving it. Many gamers out there have opposite opinions of those two games, and that is what makes gaming great. As a gaming community, I think we are all better off when we let people like what they like and dislike what they dislike without telling them they are wrong and such a game is better. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Anyway, which holiday release are you guys most hyped for?
Yeah, I think most adults do understand that. I think I'm always being generous and optimistic here, but I think a lot of this talk, like when people yell at me about how my review needs to be objective, I just imagine a 10-year-old on Twitter screaming that to me and not understanding how the world works, even though I know there are some adults who think that way and just don't quite get it. So yeah, like, these discourses are always going to happen. And I talked about a bit about our process here. It's like, we have 4 of us on our staff right now. and we're working 9 to 5 just writing about the video games. We're not going off to play video games during work hours. I can't expect, and as like the reviews editor, I don't expect anybody to be like, all right, you're reviewing Far Cry 6, so guess what you're doing for the rest of this week when you're not working. You're like, no, it's fine. Like, I'd like, it's good to have a review up if we can, but even if you just need to write something else about it, you want to do like impressions or review in progress, it's fine. For us, like getting a review out on embargo is not necessarily going to be a big deal for our traffic. Now, if it was an IGN or GameSpot, I bet like those reviews do matter because a lot of people go to them specifically for that stuff, but they also have giant staffs. They have people who just do reviews.
Right.
Much.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. And they hire freelancers to do just reviews and stuff like that. A lot of times.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. So it's a different system. In terms of holiday release, Final Fantasy XIV ENDWALKER, the expansion, which I'll be talking about later because I was in the preview event for that. How about you, Jeff?
Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp coming out in December. That's like, Metroid Dread was my most anticipated game of the year after the last few trailers, and now that's here, and I'm kind of like, well, I'm pretty satiated. Like, that was awesome. A game I was looking forward to came out, and I adore it. I'm still playing it, even though I beat it, and I'm like going right back into it and still having as good a time as I was having before, if not better, because it's cool to like learn a game like that and understand it and like move through the space and be like, oh, actually, I don't need to go figure out what that thing is because I know I can't get through that yet, and just kind of run right past it and keep progressing even faster than you did the last time. So I'm just really happy with Metroid Dread. But Advanced Wars 1 plus 2 Reboot Camp is the next thing. I'm like, I hope that's a similar quality sort of.
I'm pretty excited for that
series.
I wasn't as a giant fan of that as you were. I liked it, but I wonder if I never quite devoted the time to it that I probably ever should have. So I'm kind of excited to get more into it this time.
Mui Abby, on our spoiler cast, we talk a little bit about that. Yeah, that's
what spoiler cast, Jeff?
I know that doesn't exist because I had us muted for the entire thing, so we lost it. It's lost the time. All right, let's see. From Benji Bop. Okay, back to serious questions. What are the chances that this Nintendo expansion pack evolves over time to be Nintendo's equivalent of PS Plus or Game Pass? Add more emulation, maybe offer a new paid DLC once a year. Sure, the $30 upcharge is steep now, but over time, more things added could soften the blow. And we talked about that. We think that is probably the plan.
I certainly hope that whatever they're doing to put these games on this service, it's a more permanent thing than when things have been added to like virtual consoles before, right? Like I hope it's like, okay, like, yeah, we have Super Mario Brothers 3 on this platform here, and now we can kind of carry that forward into whatever the platform is going to be on a Switch 2 or a Switch 3 going forward, so that eventually it will just be an overwhelming giant library. Like there better not be like the Switch 2 comes out and we're starting from square one again, right? Like, well, here's your 5 NES games, and then, hopefully in 5 years you'll have all of them that you care about, maybe.
From Cole Knapp, is Animal Crossing DLC enough to convince people to upgrade to the higher tier? It feels like Nintendo's going to have to make more promises if they want people to feel good about that price increase. I think we said that too, where it's like they should have made more promises. They should have said that. They should have said, with this $50 tier, we are going to be we're going to be empowered to go out there and make the deals to make more regular content drops on Nintendo Switch Online,
right,
in a way that we haven't done so far, where they've been disappointing. We're going to do it, and we're going to actually stick with it.
Like,
at the very least.
Honestly, you should, when Splatoon 3 comes out, you should get the DLC for that game.
Right, and all the DLC they've released for games so far should just be in there. Yeah. Like all the Zelda stuff, for example. Yeah. Like the Zelda DLC is years old now.
Yeah,
like,
how are they not here's that at least, and here's the balloon thing from Mario Odyssey or whatever, right? Like, come on.
Right. Let's see, from Sosuke. What's up, Jeff and Mike? I beat my first Metroid game for the first time since the Metroid Prime game on the GameCube from forever ago. The way he talks about that makes me feel like Sosuke is really. I think Sosuke is really young. He's one of our mods. What an awesome game Dread was. I'm so glad people convinced me to get it. Anyways, I wanted to ask about CDPR. What's up with them? Are we getting Cyberpunk DLC and that next-gen patch? I mean, yeah, we'll get that stuff eventually. I do think that there's a heavy segment of CD Projekt Red that is looking towards The Witcher 4 right now. I think they are let's get back on that Witcher tip because that's where the real money's at. So yeah,
right, and it'd be more fun right now than working on a game that kind of has a bit of a like it has a stench to it now,
Mhm.
right? Like, is it really that fun and exciting to be working on new cyberpunk content right now?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah, you feel like you're probably like being punished almost because you're like, yeah, the vibes around that have to be pretty bad. But yeah, he just like the way he said it was like Spider-Man in the MCU movies where it's like, remember the Aliens movie from like that's like super old or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but gosh, I was gonna say something and now I forgot. Let's move on.
Sorry.
No, I blame you. It is your fault. You should apologize.
Yeah,
Oh, no, you know what it was? It's that I remember the original timeline was that those next gen versions of Cyberpunk were supposed to happen this year, and I'm beginning to feel like that's not happening.
Yeah, I think that's not happening. Hang on, there's a kid yelling at me. Let me go get her real quick.
Okay. Sounds like, are they yelling or are they crying? Sounded like a little crying. Sounded like a little whimpering. We'll play a sad song because you were whimpering. Ooh, that was bad. That was a bad D. Whoop.
Ooh, that was a good note.
That's the wrong note. Bad wrong note. I blew it. Simple and Clean. I learned. I wasn't playing Simple and Clean. I was playing Dearly Beloved before. I don't know Simple and Clean yet.
All right, I've got one here from Low Rule. While Mike continues to serenade us.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Whatever. It's good background music. This one I know Mike's going to say no to because I know what answer he's going to have. Is Metroid Dread the best game Nintendo has released since Breath of the Wild?
Well, no, because Mario Odyssey is better, but maybe after that, Mario Odyssey is still better.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, it's the best game they've released since Mario Odyssey. I think so. Charles, afternoon, gentlemen. With Metroid looking like a sales success, do you think we will see more 2D games from Nintendo going forward? Hopefully more Metroid. Also, do you think Sony or Microsoft might look into the game style?
So I don't know about Sony and Microsoft. I don't think they're going to be like investing in like a big budget 2D game anytime soon.
Right.
That's just especially not Sony. God no. Microsoft
Right.
maybe Double Fine wants to do something. I don't know. That could maybe
like
happen.
Sony from the beginning has been like 2D games. That's fucking trash. Like from PlayStation, from day one on PlayStation, that was like a stated policy. Like, we do not want to do 2D games because that looks like it's old and not technologically superior. Like we want PlayStation to be associated with. So.
Like all the good 2D games on PlayStation were like kind of dirty secrets, like Klonoa, even Symphony of the Night for a long time, right? So yeah, definitely not Sony. What was the other part of that question? I can't remember now.
Let's see. With Metroid, also, do you think it's like, do you think we will see more 2D games from Nintendo going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I used to say I didn't want to because a lot of their 2D games for Switch were sort of underwhelming, and now this one was good again. So I don't know, like, what would it be? Kirby is already getting a much more exciting 3D thing. The last Yoshi game was so boring to me. I don't know who possibly wants another 2D Yoshi game from Nintendo right now. I think what we all want is a new 2D Mario game that's not New Super Mario Brothers. But again, like with how successful Mario Odyssey is, make a Mario Odyssey too.
Right.
So
the 3D games are selling better than the 2D games now. And I think actually what Metroid Dread might be is Nintendo learning the lesson that it's not just necessarily 2D versus 3D. It is sort of complex and rich in terms of mechanics versus very simple, which is a lot of their 2D games were. Very simple, very slow paced. And Metroid Dread is like, we're going to give you a lot of stuff very quickly, very high pace. And then also that stuff's going to require like complicated button inputs and stuff. And we have faith in the audience to be able to handle that. And I think maybe if they go in that direction with 2D going forward, where not everything has to be as complex as Metroid Dread, where I know people were having some issues with like switching between the beam or the grapple hook or the missiles or whatever. But they still could be a little bit more complicated than the Yoshi games have been. So yeah, we'll see. All right, let's see. From King is overrated. Happy Friday, gents. Luckily, I caught the show live. Quick question that's probably on everyone's mind. What is Nintendo thinking? I get that. Hang on.
I'm like upset I can't hear. I want to know what they upset you weren't. Was she upset you weren't wearing
She
your
just
hat?
wanted me to wear my hat.
Nice.
That's all it was. She just needed me to
Good.
wear my hat. I think
I like how instead of explaining to her that that's a ridiculous request, you're just like, okay.
it's better. You got to be like a bull tame or a bull fighter, where you got to let them run right past you instead of trying to stop them, or else they'll lose their mind.
That's a good analogy. All
Yep,
right.
it's the truth. All right, let's see here. King is Overrated asks, happy Friday, gents. Luckily, I caught the show live. Quick question that's probably on everyone's mind. What is Nintendo thinking? I get they are a corporation and want to make more money, yet this just seems so out of touch from what the fans want. And I think many people will not want to renew their memberships. A $30 increase is in a yearly price for access to N64 games and a DLC. It's nearly the price of Xbox Live and PS Plus with way less features online-wise. I want your opinions on if you guys agree with this move and if you think the backlash will make them change their minds. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Plus, I am COVID-free now with no issues afterwards. Nice. Thanks to, and I just accidentally went away from the thing, but we're happy you're COVID-free. We talked about this, Mike. But any other thoughts?
They're not going to change it. They're doing it because they think they can get away with it, and they are probably right there.
We don't agree with it, but it's like.
Yeah,
this is just the push and pull of all of this stuff. You want to pay the least amount of money for the things you want. They want to charge the most amount of money for the things they're selling you. And both are going to get away with what they can get away with. If you can go and get a used game for cheaper, you're going to do that because it's what's best for you. And then, Nintendo gets no money from that second sale or whatever. Right. And if Nintendo can charge you more money to buy these things up front, they will. They're eventually going to raise the price of their games to like $70. That's going to happen. It might happen before the end of the Switch generation. They might sell Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 for $70. Who knows? And it's not great, but I want everything for free. Like, that's me. That's my personal position. And I know that's unrealistic. And at a certain point, like, it does like move over from like being like unrealistic to kind of feeling like unfair and sort of like exploitation. And this move from Nintendo definitely feels like that. But also, these are luxuries. There are other ways to play these in N64 games and stuff. And if you want to go do that, we tell you all the time, go do that. You don't have to buy the stuff. Go do the other thing. We know, we get it. And so really, yeah, if you don't want to pay this money, don't pay this money. Is my like stated, confirmed, solid position. Don't buy it if you don't want to. All right, let's see. Low Rule asks, if there was a Royal Rumble for games journalists, who would win?
Greg Miller's pretty tall.
Yeah, fuck Greg Miller though.
Yeah, I feel like I know the rules of wrestling pretty well, but so does Greg likes wrestling, but he likes WWE.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's so normie. Corporate. Yeah,
yeah, right. Oh my god, right.
I'm gonna go with Imran Khan because that's a very strong wrestling name. Imran Khan's got a strong wrestler name.
It does. Well, yeah, but Mike Minotti's a pretty good wrestler. Man.
Okay,
Actually, Mike Minotti. It's like a manager.
Okay, I was gonna argue with you, but it actually would be a fantastic manager. Mike Minotti is a good manager name.
Yeah,
so.
I'd be very loud and annoying, and people would boo me, and I would love it.
Yeah, and people would love booing you, so it'd be.
I was a ring announcer one time at a local indie wrestling show because my friend was wrestling, and they needed an announcer, and Jake the Snake Roberts was there that week because they paid a bunch of money to get him in, and then he was arrested at the end of the night for outstanding parket tickets or outstanding child alimony or something like that. It was fun stuff.
It sounds like a fun night. Yeah, Dean Takahashi would win. He'd bring in his roller bag that he takes to all events, and he would just knock people out with it. Like it'd be a foreign object, except for he would be allowed to have it because Dean Takahashi always has his roller bag. So
yeah, just be accepted. It'd be like when Cowboy Bob Orton just wrestled with a cast on, just beat people with like, he's got a cast. What do you want to do?
That's what he is. He's a man with a cast. All right, let's see. King is Overrated back with hello again, Beefy Boys. Just wanted to get your opinion on everyone that is bashing on Metroid Dread, saying this is Nintendo's $60 game and downplaying the game for it being 2D, being a 2D Nintendo game.
It's bad faith. It's just fanboy ridiculous stuff that is it seems way louder than it should be because of like Twitter and like they turned it into a meme of sorts that people thought was fun. So then that whole and the $60 Nintendo game versus something else $60 took off. Right. It's stupid. I think most people know it's stupid, and I think people get anxious about this. It's the same thing that happened with that Kotaku article where people got really mad about the emulation thing. People are getting anxious because we all understand that Metro games usually don't sell very well, and we want this one to sell well.
Yes.
So we're invested in a way that normally we shouldn't be, and it's not really healthy for us to care how well a thing sells. But we understand that like there are stakes for Metroid because like, it's perceived as a certain way, and we want it to be perceived better than that. And in order for that to happen, Metroid Dread needs to sell like more than 3 million copies at least, and probably about 5 million, which is a tall order for the franchise.
From Fresh, imagine if Xbox announced their online was going free today, right after the Nintendo news.
Wow.
That would be pretty fun.
That'd be pretty amusing, huh? Like you do wish like you could have that interview with like Doug Bowser or somebody,
right? Oh,
and just be like, justify this to me,
yeah.
Like, and they'll have to, and it'll be bad, and you like will give them a little push and pull. But I think Kotaku tried to do that with Reggie one time when they announced like the phone Nintendo, like the first Nintendo Switch Online thing. It's like, this doesn't seem great, and of course they have to be like, oh, actually it is, and here's why. Right. And it's awkward for them, and I bet they hate it, but I feel like they have to go through that if they're going to do this to us.
Yeah. It would be nice to be able to, like, you say, I'm sure people listen to be like, well, why don't you do that? We could request an interview with Nintendo about this stuff.
They're going to
say no. I mean, we'll go ask. We'll go ask, and we'll tell you what they say to us. But
hopefully they don't hear this part right here where I said I wanted to be mean to them about it.
Right, yeah, but it's like, you say I want to be tough on them. But it reminds me of that Penny Arcade comic from years ago where they said, journalists grew some balls, and it was about that Dan Shu interview with Peter Moore.
Dan Shu,
yeah. It's like they looked at their pants and found some balls, and because it's like old interviews were like this: why are all your games and your systems so awesome? And then the corporate guy's like, thank you. And then it was Dan Shu.
Said, so awesome.
And then Dan Shu was like, hey, why are all your games and consoles so shitty? And then the guy still said, so awesome. Like that's what those interviews are like. They're still going to be like, so awesome when we ask him anything. So,
right.
Whatever. From King is Overrated, Jeff and Mike, I want a game that is announced at the Game Awards. Could you share with the class what you know? We know you know. We also know we know you know we know. We don't know.
You actually don't know. Yeah.
It's still, like, I've asked around a little bit, and it's still too early for people to, like, for that stuff to start filtering out. So I think things probably just haven't been quite locked. I'm sure there are some big games that, like, Jeff Keighley's like, oh yeah, if I can get that, I want to do that. And
he's already been tweeting things like to suggest he has something. Now, of course, he's going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure there will be things.
Yeah, there will be things, and we'll try to find out. And if it's worth talking about, maybe we will. If it's the kind of thing where it's like just a nice surprise and there's nothing else to it, maybe we'll let him keep that. Jeff Keighley's a nice guy, so. From Fresh, never played a Metroid. Do I need the backstory of those games to know what's going on if I play Dread? I mean, it helps.
Yeah,
but you don't need it.
There's an intro that catches you up enough.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah, you don't need to play the other ones. Although, they're great games. Although Dread plays better than the other ones, so it's like you might have some struggling going back. If you want to play another one after playing Dread, play Zero Mission. It plays very well to this day.
You're kind of.
I love Super Metroid,
you think Dread's better Super Metroid? I'm not ready to cross that bridge yet.
I know. I understand.
If I ever will be. I don't know if I ever will be. It's close. I admit. It's definitely my second favorite 2D Metroid now, but I just don't know if I can go that far.
From Cole Knapp, how long do you think until we get the next 2D Metroid? I hope it's like 2 years. I bet that's it.
It will be. That'd be nice. I bet it'll be more like 3 or 4. I mean, how long is it going to be between Zeldas here?
Well, how long was it between Samus Returns and this?
About 4 years, right?
Okay, so probably
2017.
Yeah.
That's when that came out.
Yep, that sounds
like
right.
The same year the Switch did. So I bet 4 years. And part of it will help if Nintendo buys Mercury Steam, so that we know that has to be their next game now, right? Because now they're third party, and they might get another project offered. Maybe Konami's going to go to them like, hey, we want you to make Castlevania again and just do what you did with that, which would actually be pretty interesting, right? The people who made the new good Metroid game just made the next like new good 2D Castlevania game and that's now.
Yeah, I mean,
they already made one before.
Yeah, right. But yeah,
but
exactly.
That was kind of different. That was back when they were more of a mid company, right?
All right, I know what the title of this episode is going to be.
That's my word of the day.
Yeah. From Christian, not game related, but I want to know what Mike thinks about Disney getting into the anime business.
I mean, come on. Is this just that Star Wars thing? That's all they really done, right?
No. He said that they have a Japanese studio making anime based on Disney stuff. Is what he said during the break. So yeah,
I mean, that makes sense. Anime's mainstream now, right? So
yeah.
it doesn't surprise me at all that Disney's getting on board. And Disney used to have a relationship with Studio Ghibli. I think they don't anymore. I think 4Kids handles that stuff now. So they've dabbled in the past. So
I gotta say though, it's really impressive that just 4 children can do that with the Studio Ghibli.
all right, you're funny. There was an anime Lilo and Stitch show at one point too. So they've done things before.
From David Jaffe, why am I such a cranky tool? Oh, I don't think that, David.
I don't think you're crank. I don't know. There's a little bit of Arrested Development or something with Jaffe. Like
that might be right.
There's a thing. I don't know. He's like one of those guys that still like swears a lot. Like I don't know, in a way that to me seems immature. But I think that back then that used to just be a style. But to me, it's like off-putting and weird because I'm sheltered and scared.
Yeah, but I mean, what was the game? Drawn to Death.
To Death. Yeah, well, that wasn't very good.
And not just that it wasn't very good, its whole vibe was bad. It was like if you still thought farts were the funniest thing, and Arrested Development. I mean, you said it. That's what it was.
Yeah, but even that seems. Look, I'll tell you this. I think that me and David Jaffe have very little in common. I think I'd have a very hard time having a conversation with him. It doesn't mean he's a bad person or anything like that. But I don't know what I would talk to him about. I don't think we have very many shared interests or much in terms of shared philosophy.
From Nick Turbo, will they remake Dead Space 2 or 3, or will they make their own sequels? I think it'll be actually a bit of a hybrid where they feel like maybe a little bit of remakes, but there will be a lot of branching off where they need to establish this franchise as a new thing going forward. Whatever makes the most sense to make players the most excited is the thing they're going to do. If that requires mostly a remake, they'll do that, but I still think they'll be adding new things along the way.
I mean, assuming this first game sells well, there will certainly be something Dead Space 2 adjacent. Yes. Dead Space 3 probably not, because no one liked it anyways, but people like Dead Space 2 a lot.
Yeah, Reservoir Doug says Record ruined him. Record playing Drawn to Death was very funny and accurate. Mm-hmm. Okay. That does it for the questions here, Mike. I do want to know how much of ENDWALKER did you end up playing the other day? Can you say?
No. So this was actually a few weeks ago when we got to do this. A couple weeks, really.
Yeah.
It was like 6 hours or something like that. Or was it 9 hours? It was a long time.
It was a long time. You were gone, and it was like that night you came back. You're like, I'm back, and I'm like, it's like 8 p.m. What the hell are you talking about? You're back.
It was, and because they were like, you don't have to stay the whole time, but you needed that much time because there are some people, especially the video content creators, which props to them, who were going through all of the different classes and documenting the changes. Like that's basically how all the players are going to learn about this stuff, is they're letting us see it and be able to report on it, which is pretty cool. Like, a lot of people just do this themselves now. Mm-hmm. So that was a pretty neat opportunity there. I had a lot of fun with this. Obviously, I like Final Fantasy XIV a lot right now. It's not too often that I get excited about like game events anymore, especially virtual ones like this, but this was still really fun. I was even like geeking out over the people who are in the Discord with me. Like I was playing with some of some of the content creators I follow on Final Fantasy XIV. I was like, oh, this is weird. And I'm like,
was Asmongold there?
Asmongold was there.
All right,
he was there. Yeah, Rich was there. So yeah.
Oh yeah, fucking Rich. Yeah, I know, little Richie. Yeah.
Yeah, so I helped Rich do a hunt at the end, which was like a boss in the open world, and that was like the last thing we did, and it was this really long fight that took a while, and it was super fun. But yeah, so I got to try out the 2 new classes, the Reaper and the Sage. Reaper's like this really fast-paced scythe wielder, and they can kind of like summon this shadow thing that attacks people for a bit. And then Sage is like the tech healer, right? It's like Gundam healer. You have like these floating lasers, and all of your like heals, they like have like, it's like Phantasy Star Online, like the force fields and like a lot of like digital screens and stuff. Just the sound effects are so good. So, and they do a lot of shields, and they can kind of damage and heal people at the same time. If you ever played Discipline Priest in World of Warcraft, it's like that. I know you're a big Discipline Priest fan.
You
Jeff.
know me. Me and a lot of content creators like Derek the Game Slappers into Discipline Priest. All those guys, you know that.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, we got to and they let us run around 4 of the or was it 3 of the new zones, including the new capital city. And they did like the work to like kind of turn off any of the NPC conversations, and we couldn't talk to people to avoid all the spoilers and everything. So that was pretty neat and impressive, and the places look great. Like the main new city is called Charlian. It's a place they've been talking about since the game came out. In fact, base Final Fantasy XIV, they wanted it to be a starting city like back then in 2010 or whenever when that thing came out. So we can finally go to this place, and it's like it has like this kind of like classical city of learning vibe. Like it's all the big like white buildings everywhere, right? Like the forum. So very pretty, very cool. Like the other zone is very Indian inspired. So you kind of have like those big like statues that almost have like a bit of the. I'm very bad on my my Indian knowledge, I'm afraid, but like the giant elephants and stuff like that. Very colorful. You know how like in India it's just like all those colors and they're very vibrant and bright. So that's good. And then the other zone is this just destroyed high tech city, Garlemald. Yeah, Garlemald. So that was super fun. We got to do a dungeon. I got to see some of the changes to my favorite class, the Red Mage, and some of the other classes. They gave us a lot of access, and I got to do an interview with Naoki Yoshida, also known as Yoshi P by all the fans, and he is impressive. He's one of the most impressive people I've talked to in video games. He's the guy who turned Final Fantasy XIV around from a disaster to now the most profitable Final Fantasy XIV game or Final Fantasy game ever. And like fans have a connection with him, even despite language barriers and all that stuff. Also, his translator is fantastic. Like you will ask a long question, she'll translate to him, and then he'll talk for a long time, and like she will just repeat it all with inflections and like kind of getting like the emotion behind it and everything. Very good stuff. So
that's impressive. Now, how is it the most profitable Final Fantasy when it's a free-to-play up to level 60, including the award-winning Heavensward expansion? Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out they convert a lot of people into paying customers, Jeff.
Wow,
a lot of people end up liking the game.
Interesting. Now, I wonder if that's why they say all that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's why. Like, I mean, you basically get 100 hours of free, like the game for free, and they're okay with it because they know enough people are going to like the game and spend money to just buy it. It happens all the time. And now a lot of people are buying ENDWALKER already. ENDWALKER is going to make them a crap ton of money.
Mike, is Final Fantasy XIV the best Final Fantasy game?
Yeah, I think it's my new favorite one. I know. We even did the tier list before I got super into it again. My answer was always 9 for the longest time. But I think Final Fantasy XIV is my favorite Final Fantasy. And once this is like the end of like the first, like the original story arc, and then the next expansion, even the patches before that are going to start something new. So if this just like closes things up in a satisfying way, it'll absolutely be like, maybe this was going to fumble and it'll ruin it. I don't think so. I'd be surprised. But man, I like Final Fantasy XIV is still the game. Like I get excited to play every single day.
Well, I'm happy for you. It seems like easily the thing that most people are going to be anticipating this holiday. It seems like a big deal, big release, and I guess based on what you've played, you think people should be excited.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Final Fantasy XIV, then yeah, there's going to be a lot of great stuff here.
Cool. For me, it's just been more Metroid Dread, and we don't need to go over that again. But I'm still really liking that game. It is very good.
I want to play more too. We do have a few more super chats if you want.
Yeah, let's get to those, and then we'll start wrapping up. Thanks for sending all those in, everybody.
Inferno Tim asked me, wait, Mike, who are the Scrappers then? I'm stupid with local sports. So I talked about the Youngstown Phantoms as our local hockey team. The Scrappers are a local baseball team. They used to be like a single A, like they used to be a minor league team for like an official minor league team for the MLB. I don't think they're officially associated with the MLB anymore.
That comes and goes. That happens.
They're a farm team still. Like the people go there to try to get noticed by scouts and stuff, but it's not like a single A team. And that is in Warren, Ohio. Moto Mufti says, "Hello, Jeff. Do you know anything about the unannounced Sony Santa Monica game?"
I don't really. I think that's the one that what's his name is Corey Barlog is overseeing, right? I think he said it was going to be like a sci-fi space game or something. I don't know much. I haven't heard much. I'll keep my ears open.
Wow, I can't believe they're going sci-fi. Very bold. Fasel Hassan says, it was a bad D, Mike, talking about my whistle playing earlier. I did hit a bad D. I don't know why I struggle with the D so much. Probably because you have to hold down the most notes, so there's the most opportunity for air to escape and for the note to come out bad. Here comes the best D of my life right now, though.
Oh, no, he's going to get the best D.
Perfect D. Perfect D. Victor Marinez says, I'm late to the party, but I don't want the protagonist in Fallout talking. 4 was great shooting, but everything else leaves something to be desired. I agree with that, Victor. Actually, why don't we close that poll right now, right? Is Fallout 4 overrated or underrated, Jeff?
Yes. So I just closed it. So it's going to take a second because I forgot to look at it before I did that. So I got to wait for it to tally up or something. What takes YouTube so long? It's a computer. Just fucking run the numbers. It's not that hard.
Well, there it is.
Is Fallout 4 overrated or underrated? 53% say overrated and 46% say underrated. That's with 243 votes.
So, yeah, pretty close, 50-50. I still win, which is, of course, important, but pretty close. Supernova says, when's Jeff Keighley? Well, he says, when Jeff Keighley texts Kojima in the morning, is it after breakfast or before? I think it's right when he wakes up, and he's just in bed still looking cute, and he's texts him, what are you doing?
Yep.
What are you thinking about? And then last one here for now, Reservoir Dogs says, do you think that the Sleeping Dogs movie with Donnie Yen will ever see a cinematic release? Thanks, Cheddar Boys. Man, I forgot that was happening.
Yeah, I don't think did I ever know that was happening? If I did, I completely forgot.
I knew it was happening, so my answer is going to be no. I think you'll be downloading that one on Amazon Prime or whatever.
Yes, yeah, it'll show up on Netflix in a couple of years or something like that. Yeah.
Right. All right, Jeff, I think that's it. I think we did all the things.
Yeah, all right. Well, Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
Find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, TOLKOTO. Check out 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast. We have a new episode going up soon where we debate which is the best of the 3 Magic Kingdom monorail resorts. So the Polynesian, the Contemporary, and the Grand Floridian. Me and my 3 brothers, we each advocated for one of them. So it was like a debate. So it was fun stuff there.
That is exciting. I when we go, I think I might want to do one of those, but we also know they're pretty expensive. So I want to hear.
They can be expensive.
So I'm like, I want to see what you guys have to say because we've never been to anything like that. So I don't want to.
Yeah. If you have any follow-up questions, I'll be able to help you with that.
I'll definitely ask. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Last of the 10 Dogs is on Tuesdays now, so we'll be back then. I'm sure we'll be talking about that Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack even more.
Yep, we will. If you have more thoughts, show up then. Let us know. You can get in the Discord, discord.gg/GameMess, and then there's links to stuff like the Patreon if you want to get in there and ask us questions that we answer on Nintendo Dogs. Then that happens on Tuesdays now, right? At 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. So what is that? 11:30 a.m. Eastern and 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time. So join us for that. It's always a good time. I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I just posted a new How Games Make Money this week where I talked to Serenity Forge. It's a studio in Boulder, Colorado, and they're a developer and a publisher, but they've started, like a lot of companies, releasing physical games, and they've released the physical version of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, and now they're doing Death's Gambit and stuff like that. And they talked about what it's like trying to make a physical game in when the supply chain is rough. I think at one point they said the entire country of China ran out of cardboard, and so they were scrambling trying to figure out what to do, and it was a challenge they had to overcome. So that's a good conversation. Check that out. And then I don't know, GamesBeat, find us there. I do Grubb Snacks over on Giant Bomb. Please watch that, giantbomb.com/upgrade if you're not a member. It's a premium show, but it's very interactive and fun. I answer questions there. It's a good time.
I'm going to be on Xbox Chatterdays tomorrow, I remember, too. So.
Oh yeah, with Miles. Yeah, Miles was in chat earlier. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I saw him, so that's going to be exciting.
All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. Have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.